last 2 weeks we did the Battle Royale for Maluri and Kokrit. I think a lot of people enjoyed it. A lot of people enjoyed the candid conversations that we had, reviewing the Maluri and Kokrit area. And hence why we decided to do Segambut slash Dutama slash North Kiara and slash North Duta lah. Today developer just making shit up to the point you don't know which one is north south bullshit, right? So basically, um, tonight is really to really dissect, cut through the bullshit. We are gonna redefine properly the map, and if you disagree with our definition, no problem. We can agree to disagree. We look at it purely from a factual point of view. It's not gonna be an opinion, right? So that's the key thing we're gonna do tonight, right? And the other bonus here is that I think when we did our first one, we had close to 200 people showing up. Tonight we have 500 people and counting. So there's a big bonus for anyone watching live tonight, right? So the people watching live tonight, you get to ask the question, right? You get to ask the questions, right? So the last time we did this, it took us about 2.5 to about 3 hours for the Battle Royale to end, including the questions. So the big bonus for you guys and datang malam ni, rather than watching the recording later, is that you guys get to ask the questions. Obviously, it has to be related to whatever we're discussing tonight, lah. Right? Don't go and ask me, Johor, how, God or not, good or not, right? So please make it relevant, right, to the panelists. So there's a question already. How do we start investing in real estate? Sorry, I'm a newbie. Well, that's why you are here. This is one of the platforms and the things that you should really understand, right? So tonight you will see how we evaluate real estate, right? So we have a couple of strategies and principles that we use, right? And by just going through session like this, I think you're gonna learn a lot lah, from tonight. Anyone here first time home buyer? Right? Anyone here first time home buyer? Please get pen and paper ready, right? So, guys, why are we doing this? Number one, we talk about data, right? We want to use data to help provide independent guide for anyone looking to buy property in these 3 areas. So the 3 areas that we are referring to tonight is Duta Mas, North Kiara, North Duta, and also Segambut, like basically as part of it, right? So these are basically the areas that we are going to be reviewing tonight. We're going to review some older properties. We're going to review some of the newer property. We'll tell you dekat area ni berapa harga nak beli, right? What is the price point? Okay. The objective is to give you the full information so that you get the full picture, right? The context for this session is to provide you the shortcut so that people who are looking at this multiple property, hopefully after today, the decision to buy which one is the best one for own stay, right? Versus which one to buy for investment becomes very clear. This is basically as a guide it's meant for a guide to help tenants and future buyers in this area. If you dah tersalah beli, especially if you have bought a property here and the property is not positive review tonight, I'm so sorry. But again, we can agree to disagree. We look at it, purely from a factual point of view, right? And then second last point here is that we want to use data to help avoid specific mistake before you buy the wrong property. And last but not least, as I mentioned before, tonight's content will be quite hot. To the point, I think we are risking a potential lawsuit here. There are going to be 1 or 2 developers who will be very unhappy with what we are about to present tonight, right? So there's some context of why we are doing this session, right, for free, right? So the next one here is that what can you expect to learn tonight? So next slide, okay? You will understand the details of the area, right? As of today, these 3 areas, right? You will understand why people like this area and why people don't like this area too, right? You're gonna understand what's gonna come to the area that will help increase or even potentially decrease property value around the area. Okay. Number 4, we use 7 criteria to guide what investment to buy, and we can demonstrate that tonight. And which is why, for example, if you follow the Maluri Battle Royale, because of 7 criteria, we identified the best 3 property in the whole of Kokre Maluri, and we bought the best 3. So the 7 criteria is no joke, Yeah. So once you know how to use it, it's like being able to unlock a secret world whereby you will never buy bad property. Okay. Now, as the outcome of the tonight's session, that you will know what's the best property for own stay, right? In our point of view. what is the best property for tenants and rentals, and what's the best property for investment. And last but not least, you're gonna know what's next for the area. And of course, last, then you go to Q&A. Okay. So guys, this is what you can expect to learn. So basically, this is the only thing you have to watch in order to understand Segambut, right? North Dutamas area, North Duta, and of course North Kiara. So are we ready, guys? Are you guys ready? Are you guys excited? Right? To go to this, right? Are you guys ready? Are you guys excited? Get your pen and paper. Like I said, tonight, a very special night. We've got a special guest, and on top of that, like I said, you guys get to ask the questions. So with that, I'm gonna hand over the floor to LB, who is gonna give you a brief introduction about the area. And then after that, the panelists will come and join us back in this particular session. The moment we start talking about own stay property, personal preference, and then we go through investment. And again, we're gonna interview the panelists. So with that, LB, the floor is yours.
About the area. So today we have SEGAMBUT showdown, and yeah, we have a lot of people messing up the map, saying, yeah, actually I'm from Monkara, I'm staying in Monkara, but yeah, you're actually staying in SEGAMBUT or North Kara. Yeah, this is I heard some of people say, actually I stay in Monkara lah, but maybe you didn't get your map correctly, I would say.
Wow, LB, you are very savage. You straight away hantam people who stay in Segambut. Wow, you really don't give people faith and chance.
But I didn't say in front of the face lah. So I see in live, so you didn't see me in real life. So you jangan hentam me in real life, you see me, okay? We have go through the context. So yeah, now we are going to look at the map. Just a bit of introduction. Actually, I'm from the research team, so I usually do the area analysis for the company lah. So today we have SEGAMBUT, Dutamas, and North Kiara. So basically, looking at this map, we actually have Jalan Duta, which is now actually known as Jalan Tunku Abdul Halim, which will bring you into Publica. Then this is actually Dutamas area lah, where we have the Mitek Matre for now. And also one of our mega developments that's coming in, which is KL Metropolis. And then we have a Duke that's actually separated our North Kerala, which is formerly known as SEGAMBUT Dalam lah. Now they are known as North Kerala because yeah, they're actually at the north side of the Mont Kiara. That's why people say, I stay in Mont Kiara, but yeah, you are quite close. The name also very close, but actually we are not. Okay, so and then we have SEGAMBUT, with they actually name it as Duta North, also use the same concept lah, okay, to me. So actually I stay also near to Duta Mas lah, yeah, but okay, yeah, in SEGAMBUT we have actually Sungai Gerok over here. Actually, within the inner road, they will segregate these three jalan. Actually, they are considered interconnected. Other small jalan lah, you can go through all this. They bring you to Mont Kiara, okay, which is one of the highest density location in KL. So if you stay in Mont Kiara, you'll see all of the high rise, like here and there, super high rise, but still a lot of people staying in it. For me, it's like it's a walkable community, because if you have been to Mont Kiara, you can just walk around. Yeah. So this is actually the inner roof. You can see this is the fork roof that will separate. Go to this side, you go to North Kiara. To the other, on your right side, you go to Pintasan SEGAMBUT, which will lead you to SEGAMBUT area. So this is another just another picture to show this. You go to SEGAMBUT already. Okay. So when I go through a lot of ads, I'm not just saying that, oh, people say I'm staying like Mont Kiara or anything. The center of gravity when people are advertising for the development they're going, actually they are saying the nearest commercial mall is like, you can go to Publica. So you see, even in Alex, it's actually in the North Kiara. They are also advertising it, the practice address, surrounded by practice address of Dutamas and Mont Kiara, but you are at North Kiara. Okay, so we have even at Duta Park also advertised Publica. We have Savio, which is actually at SEGAMBUT. One of their major landmark, they're labeling Mitek, Matre, Publica, Solaris, Mont Kiara, instead of saying I am from SEGAMBUT. or I'm from North Kiara. Okay, so this is how we see actually people are labeling themselves as in Tutamas, one of the prime area, like people are coming in our mega development, KL Metropolis. Yeah. So this is Tutamas area. On a very close inside, we are going to see the name of the road. Okay, so if you are placed within Persiaran Tutamas, okay, this actually will segregate you lah. This is going to North Kiara already. Okay, then the other side, Sungai Kero, is actually SEGAMBUT lah. So these areas starting is our Tutamas area. So we have all the KL Metropolis elements. We have 9 concept, or I would say 9 developments over here, N1 to N9. Okay, so we have Persiaran Tutamas over here. This is Jalan Tutamas, where you have Map 5, Fidelus. This is Solastar. That's actually under cons, and over here we have also Park, Solaris Park. This is Map 1 at the bottom of it. Okay, Map 1 at the starting. This is going to VP soon. Okay, so from this area is actually the Tutamas area lah. We have the mega diamond. So why we actually talk about mega diamond, the booster? Have you guys known about like TRX? TRX, when TRX opened up, right, a lot of people went to it. Then it's actually our financial hubs. So we have a lot of banks, buildings over there, creating a lot of job opportunities. That's why last time when we do Malguri, we talk about job opportunities that connected to mega development. So this KL Metropolis is going to be one of the booster we are looking over for this area. Okay, so what do we have in the area? Okay, this is part of to go to Mon Kiara, the highest density one of it. So you pass to this Jalan Tuta, the bridge, then you reach Solaris. Then this is the start of Mon Kiara. So before all this, you are actually in still in Tutamas address lah. Even a Mon Kiara coming, you are still labeled as Tutamas. Okay. So this is KL Metropolis. We have different elements considering. We have this is meter and matrix that actually already operated where you guys go for Mata Fair. Yeah, I went for Mata Fair, so it's quite big over there. This is mainly on a convention center, and also for government agencies, more on the investment part where they park their offices over here. So we have other elements where I'm going to explain some of it over here. So we have Map 1, which is actually the service resident. This is the Solaris Park. Then depan you akan sampai Publica lah. Okay, so we have the other all elements over here. This is actually Map 5, going to be mixed developments of offices, tower, and also malls, and also hotels. And yeah, people talk about Naza Tower over here, right? So Naza Tower is actually will be the Map 3 elements over here. Okay, so we also have 6-star hotel coming, which is going to be here at the Map 9. They're already starting the groundwork already. Okay, so one of the booster of the work that we're talking about is the Map A. This is one of the Grade A corporate office tower, which actually when I went to there, I saw Arabica is there already lah. So I think slowly the tenant will move in for all the working corporates over this. This is the Grade A offices that is located in the area. Okay. So I talk about the Map 5. This is going to be mixed development, comparing 9 acres of land, where if you talk about higher Regency hotel, if you pass through this Jalan Tutamas over here, you can see they're actually putting out the Hyatt Regency punya the signboard actually, or the kind of dekat sini, the Hyatt Regency is coming over here. Okay, so this is, they're also going to put up a big park like the concept in the KLCC. So it's not only working or just purely commercial. We also have recreational parks in this area lah. So the other booster, other than working job opportunity, we know that in this area we don't have MRT, even though there's a lot of developments, a lot of high developments over here, but something is lacking over here is actually the MRT lah. So if you wanted to come to Mont Kiara, you want to go to 163, the only thing you just go by Grab. There's no other options. Okay, so we actually are having MRT3 coming out. Sorry, so this is going to be completed, expected in 2028 lah. So one of the spot that we're actually having here is actually Dutamas, which going to be near towards Fidelwood sites. Okay, so this is going to bring all and connect all the area like TRX, KLCC, or even to Kwasa Damansara. It's going to complement all the other MRT lines in KL. So everybody, this is the summary that I do for you guys to differentiate the pretender and the OG, which is the Dutamas itself, the origin. Okay, so if you see that people actually talking, you are Duta North, you are North Kiara, you are not in Dutamas, or you are not in Mont Kiara, you are somewhere else aware than the actual side of it. And looking at the address itself, you know, people will just say, oh, actually I'm in Mont Kiara. Just look at your address itself, the name of the road. Okay, if you are in Jalan SEGAMBUT, Jalan Dutamas Raya, even you have Dutamas, but you are still not in the Dutamas. Okay, Pintasan SEGAMBUT, you're actually away from the Dutamas area, or even to the Mont Kiara area. So if you are in the Dutamas area, the road that is segregated is actually the Persiaran Dutamas, Jalan Dutamas 2, where actually is in front of the Mat 8 Fidelwoods, everything. We have the Mat 8 office tower. When you look at it, when you saw the Mat 8 office tower, then you know you're actually in Dutamas already. Okay, we have Icon Residence, which is just opposite, actually a bit front from Mat 8 office tower, and also Ate Mont Kiara, yeah, which is one of the iconic team design development in the area. So Ate Mont Kiara, even though the name is Mont Kiara, but it's actually in Dutamas. Okay, so we are going to talk about our own stay criteria. So okay, just a disclaimer, okay, don't scold me, okay. It's basically purely from the bottom of my heart, okay. It's my team preference. It's not my team or research team preference, okay. Nanti tomorrow I got a letter from other developer, okay, my team, okay. So we're going to talk about our own stay.
I think we can add a little bit more, LB. So guys, I think we wanted to start the session making it very clear what is the distinction between what we think is a proper Dutamas and what is a pretender. Okay? So when you look at it, the proper Dutamas, right? The segregation of the area, right, is divided by a couple of highways, right? It's divided by a couple of highways, right? And if you look at it, the reason why we say the proper Dutamas is the OG is because if you look at the advertisement, for example, you know, you look at the advertisement, right? So a lot of this advertisement from Elite, right, which is North Kiara, all the way to Dota Park, right, which is in Jalan Kuching, right? Next to Jalan Ipoh, you got Merenda Hills, you get Era, you get Savio, right? So all of them is referring to Publica as the main attraction. Okay? Again, if Publica isn't the main attraction, no one is going to use it as a reference, as a selling point. Okay? So whether you like it or not, and we might have some agents or agencies out there who will say, who's trying to sell, for example, a project in SEGAMBUT, but trying to market it as Dutamas and whatnot, will probably be very unhappy with this definition, but it's going to be the same agent, right, who's going to use, this is 2 kilometers or 1 kilometer, 1.5 kilometer or 10 minutes to Publica. Okay? So again, like I said, you can argue about a lot of things, but the reality here is that all advertisement points to Publica as a center of gravity. So far, you guys follow, eh? Now, so that's point number one, right? And then point number two here is that if you look at where the MRT is, you look at where the Grade A offices is, right? So it's all located along this thing called Persiaran Dutamas. So I want you to remember this road, right? This road is very critical, right? The most prime piece of real estate in the whole Dutamas area is in this road called Persiaran Dutamas. Okay? Persiaran Dutamas, right? So that's the main road, right? That's really the main road, okay? So the Persiaran Dutamas give you access to Publica. The Persiaran Dutamas will also give you access to MRT3. It will also give you access to KL Metropolis. Okay? So Persiaran Dutamas, if you ask me, is equivalent to Jalan Kiara, right? So you remember, if you go to Mont Kiara, got Jalan Kiara 3, Jalan Kiara 5, Jalan Kiara 7, you got Jalan Kiara 4, right? Jalan Kiara 2. But the OG, the best real estate, is actually located in Jalan Kiara itself. Jalan Kiara hosts Coris, it hosts the Hyatt, it hosts 163, it hosts One Mont Kiara, it hosts Plaza Mont Kiara. So all of the offices, right, the best piece of real estate is all located at Jalan Kiara itself. So the comparable in Dutamas of Jalan Kiara 1, right, or Jalan Kiara 1, is actually Persiaran Dutamas. Okay? So for us, any property that is accessible by Persiaran Dutamas is considered the prime line property. So are we clear, guys? Because some of you might argue, alamak, I dah beli Era. Era is just a few hundred meters away from Persiaran Dutamas. Yes. But it's on a different area. It is actually nearer to Segambut, because it is actually across the highway, which is the border, lah, right? So first we have to get the area definition correct, lah, right? So Dutamas is where Publica is. So whatever road, right, that you can access from same road Publica is basically the Dutamas near side, right? And of course, if you look at the border also, okay, your Jalmon Kiara is actually part of Dutamas, but because Dutamas is not as prime as Mont Kiara, so they use Ajal Mont Kiara instead of Dutamas, but it's actually part of Dutamas. So Irekas Kami is also part of Dutamas. So anything across that highway becomes Dutamas. So that's Hartamas Regency, right? So RT also is supposed to be part of Dutamas. Again, like I said, developer love to use this clever terminology to in a way scam you guys into buying property which is not exactly in Mount Kiara, right? By calling it Kiara. So I'm just gonna say it, right? So I mean, it's just clever marketing. You got Armani, you got Giorgio Armani, you got Imperial Armani, you got Armani apa tu exchange, right? So yeah. So Armani exchange Segambut. Faham ah? Faham guys? So the Giorgio Armani is Mount Kiara. Dutamas is Emporio Armani. It's a cheaper version of that. So you guys faham tak? That's the reason why I want to do this webinar. We can talk about it because you see, we've been doing this for 10 years. No one really goes there to go and say, no, that is not Dutamas, right? So we are the only party here. So like I said, I'm going to have a lot of trouble with a bunch of property developers. They will potentially boycott Far Capital, but I don't fucking care, right? So because the purpose is to disseminate information, right? To disseminate information so that you guys know what exactly is. And to me, it's not a problem if you are trying to sell a property in Segambut at Segambut price point. Correct, guys? That's not a problem. You can call it whatever lah. And then you sell it at Segambut price point, great. But if you are selling a Segambut property and by changing the area, you want to sell it at Dutamas price point, then I think it's misleading. Okay? So fair, guys? So I hope we understand. So we wanted to make it very clear from a geographical point of view. We are all on the same page. Okay? Faham ke, guys? Boleh ya, guys? Okay, we are good. Okay, we can continue. So don't sign LB the head thing, because at the end of the day, the border was decided by us and the research team, right? So LB is just the communicator. She's just the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger, is what they say, right? And like I said, if you have bought property in other areas and you know, and people have sold you North Kiara property at 7 ringgit per square foot, and today you're not making money, it is because you pay Mon Kiara price point at SEGAMBUT, right? Which is what we're trying to avoid. Okay, so that is the context. So from a border point of view, you guys are very clear. So they are highway, right? They are highway to segregate the border. We define the border very clearly so that there's no argument after this. Okay, so go ahead, Albi.
Okay,
Continue.
so I'll continue on our own stay punya segment. We have few comparable in the area that I've actually taken in. We are going to discuss mostly on the new one in the area, and we'll explain why we don't take in old comparison in the area in Putramas, even though it's actually closer towards our Tutamas lah. Okay, Putramas actually at here. But I will explain why we didn't take in consideration in a few slides later on. So we're actually taking comparison from North Kiara, we have Anjali, Concentor, and also our Tutamas, we have Ate, Ajal, Solaris Park, and also Map 1 is coming out soon, going to VP. On SEGAMBUT area, we actually have Savio and also the era. We have the era phase 2 and also Savio, which is actually the second development of Savio, which is still under cons. Okay, so we are going to grade the facilities basically purely based on our own preference and also on a more on number side, actually a number of facilities okay. So we have grade A, grade B, grade C, which is normal, okay, it's not bad, okay. C is still pass, okay, it's still normal. Grade D is super basic, grade E is bad. I didn't say that. Okay, so we have a few facilities. I mean, like the grading over here. So the first one, based on the numbers and also the concept, I will rank it for the era, the Tutanov, because if you have been there, but actually I think they will be completed together with the phase 2 to make the facility to be completed on a whole concept lah. So they are going to be 100 facility with different concept, which is the wetland sanctuary, forest, village, and moon deck. And also we have the doorstep retail park by the rain tree rain. Also, this is why I rate it as number 1, okay, because of number of facilities and also the concept. So number 2, we have Solaris Park. The number of facilities they have is actually 37. It's not the most one other than the era. We actually have Savio, we actually have 47, but why I rank Solaris Park at number 2 because of the facility that they offer is more complete. We have gym, library, games room, tennis court, and also rooftop jacuzzi, and also mini theater. And also number 3, we have Anjali from North Kiara. The number of facilities they have is 34. And also what I prefer, okay, is they having a great landscape and also water feature. For me, I prefer for own stay, which I like more serenity. Okay, so I prefer things with a lot of water features. Even though the condo I stay now is actually have a lot of water features and also landscaping, a lot of trees. I don't like to see buildings. Okay, this is why I rate Anjali as number 3. Then we have Ate at number 4. Actually, he has quite few or less of the one with the most minimum of facilities. But I still give you number 4 because of the theme design of our Ate Mon Kiara. If you see it, then you know how wow it is compared to all the other development that actually they offer still good, but Ate Mon Kiara come with different theme design. Yeah. Okay, so this is why I rank it at number 4. Then we have Savio, which have 47 facilities with family-oriented concept. For me, generally is on a consider the design is more like you have a lot, but consider like basic or yeah, just normal. Okay, it's not like very luxury theme or yeah. So number 6, we have Concenter. So we have 21 facility with minimal landscape. This is why I rate grade C because the number of facility is not that much as well, and the landscaping is a little bit It's just a little, okay. And number 7, we have Agile Mon Chiara. Okay, the facilities, I mean, Agile Mon Chiara considered quite big, but they have a lot of buildings, a lot of blocks over. They share among the central part where they have their pub and also the swimming pool. But for me, I feel that the piece of land actually is quite huge, that they can do more on the landscaping side, so to make it better. But this is why I rank it at number 7 lah. Okay, the Ajamon Kara owner, don't kill me. Okay, thank you. Okay, this is our facilities grading. So
Kejap. Before that, I want to disagree on this. By the way, let's bring all the panelists too. Ihan,
okay.
what's your thought? What's your thought on this? Have you visited any of these properties? So which one have you visited and what's your view on this?
I visited all.
Oh, there you go. So are you agreeable with LB's grading?
Okay, first of all, I think it shouldn't be numbers first, because if facility is based on numbers, right? So I just put a 3 meter by 3 meter timber deck and call it moon gazing deck, sun gazing deck, sun baking deck, whatever. So there's also one facility, right? So I think I've tried to create theories about it. So besides numbers, right, I think the scale of it makes sense. That's why I don't agree Agile should be the last. Because Agile's background, it was more of a China-inspired design. So if you go into China's high-rises, it's a little bit more dry. You look into because the rest of the developers, right, all share somewhat similar landscape architects. That's why almost template one. I can almost draw out the island for you, the form of this. Then here will be whatever Bushida plant here, gardenia grass here, then pearl grass there. The species of the trunk also I can tell you already. So it's all standard, all right? But to me, what is a little bit more unique, I think sometimes when you see mass projects like from so because I got no life, that's why you look into it, right? Like Solaris one becomes a little bit more standardized. If you look into other UEM projects, there's a standard to it. So that's not as surprising, but it's standard. So what's more boutique, which is Anjali. Anjali is really one of my favorite. But the feature of it, right, even the fire escape staircase behind is designed. Did you see the fire escape? No. Yeah, because it's hidden at the back facing Sinaran side. Yeah, so that's and also how I will create facilities is based on the limitation on site. Like if you have Agile, I do agree like what LB say, you have so big canvas, right? Do better lah, right? So people like Solaris Park so small, they do their best already. And then that's where the era one makes a lot of sense. Like the era one, number one, no argument there at all, because from the front, you have the rain trees. From the back, that was the surprising one. So I got the access via developer going behind, almost reaching the KTM track and get into the creek. That is, nobody will see from the outside, but they still put in a lot of money, about like easily 3 million there to build something that people won't see. That is, ooh. So to me, but Arte then, that's a whole different intent. I will argue it's intention. So Savio and Arte is two different design intent of the facility. That one is to impress people. Wow, but wow comes with maintenance fees. But so if it's like Savio and Savi, right, it's really for family. I don't want wow. I wow every day eventually also. Yeah, so that's why a lot of people don't really stay Arte as a resident, but they go there occasionally as a hotel replacement. But I think the grading, it should not be numbers, but I don't know how yet. I really don't know the specifications, but it's like boutique, standardized under a main brand, or you want new independent brands. Don't know how to rank it, but I wouldn't argue it's C. I think grade C, but I think maybe the grading C becomes very negative to it lah. But you say when it's passed, then I agree lah.
So my take here is that I would probably rank Agile, I would say somewhere actually right after RT, right before RT actually, right? So that's how I would rank Agile lah. I quite like Agile's massive space. Solaris Park is the second one for me, largely because I think the facilities, like what you say, is quite standard, but I think the view is something else, right? The view of unblocked KL City skyline also brings an additional value to the whole development. So not only from the unit, but also from the facilities point of view, right? Era was the one that completely surprised me. Developer was somewhat relatively quite new to the game. Delivered this kind of level of facility, which was to me put a lot of so-called established developers to shame, right? Some of the developers in Perseran in the Dutamas area with a much nicer piece of land really fucking screw themselves basically, to the point whereby they basically butchered the product. Basically, they put a completely plain vanilla product. I don't want to mention names. They're not here because luckily they're not VP'd yet, right? But it looks bad from a facility point of view. It looks bad from a facade point of view. It's really nothing special, and they could really learn a thing or two lah. From a developer of Era, right? So Solaris Park, like what you said, pretty standard mainstay. The other thing that I think LB and we should stress here is that I think we should also be mindful that I would say if you want to compare, then you have to compare Dutamas proper versus the non-Dutamas proper. Because, for example, if you are looking to stay in somewhere proper Dutamas, I think your consideration will not be Era. It will not be Anjali though, right? You will probably just stick to the proper Dutamas side, which is your Solaris Park, or Metwan, or your Kami, or your Jamon Kiara. Icon, in a way, can somewhat be lumped towards that, because of, the design is actually pretty iconic, right? So those are my point of view lah. While you can lump the Dutamas proper and then the rest you can compete lah, right? So, and I think there's comment about why Tuan is not there. We can't put it there because it's not completed. Anything which is not completed cannot be here. So otherwise it becomes very complicated because you're just going to then compare artist illustration versus, versus what is going to be delivered. So basically, we are talking about properties which is completed today, right? Properties that can be seen, right? Properties that is properly completed, people already staying. And I think when you look later at the price per square foot that people are selling in sub-sale, this will somewhat translate to that, right? LB, correct me if I'm wrong. I think we are jumping a little bit ahead, right? But I think right now, from a sub-sale point of view, the most expensive sub-sale today in the Dutamas area is actually Solaris Park. Yes?
Yes.
And the most expensive on the pretender side, right? So let's just call it the pretenders, right? The pretenders, right? Is actually Era, correct?
Yeah.
Right? So these two, I guess, is undisputed as far as the choice of number one, number two, number one in the respective Dutamas and non-Dutamas. While the rest of them, then it's pretty much up to personal preference. Yeah. William, you got anything to add?
I think.
But why your face so dark, William? You're supposed to be Chinese, You're not supposed to be this dark, So for those who do not know,
this is lighting issue, come on.
Not
DNA issue,
you so kiamsat, you want to jimat electric, is it?
Yeah, I'm that level actually. Learn from my best guru, Faizul himself. So save everything possible.
Bloody hell, you somehow you blame this on me,
Okay,
right,
so for my side, I think pretty much aligned with kind of a middle between LV and Yiheng's one. So of course, for me, wise, I'm a bit biased towards something that comes with a commercial part, right? And yeah, I mean, basically, facilities wise is really subjective, right? Depends on how you grade it. But personally, I really like Agile Monkera more in terms of the large kind of facilities. I think like what Young say also, been to China, right? We look at how they build facilities wise, the buildings wise is rather not as how to say as loud as like Arte kind of a design, right? But it's rather standard So I understand that kind of design, and yeah, I think I actually prefer Agile more lah. Era wise quite comparable, but yeah, it's again subjective thing. So for me, I think okay lah. This thing quite okay. Being
I guess the
neutral
other,
here.
But just
yeah,
curious, right? Like you all, like between between the era and the rest is merely a commercial thing away, right? But for own state, do you all really want commercial?
For me, yeah, I mean, I'm at the stage of my life where I prefer something that's convenient lah. For me lah. I think Faizul tak mau kot tengok muka dia.
hang on. Kau jangan fitnah aku. Jelaka betul, right? So kau pandai-pandai je kau fitnah aku, Okay, now. So I think, okay, so this is my point of view, right? So I can say a little bit from a shameful experience, somewhat a loser experience, right? So I've been a single man, married, then today a divorcee, right? So now, as a married man, I do not want to have a commercial nearby my place. It's too busy, right? But today, as a bachelor, I stay in a place whereby I appreciate the convenience that if I want to go to coffee shop, it's just downstairs. If I want to go to Jaya Grocer, it's just downstairs. I love it, right? So I will continue with that point of view as long as I stay single. So which is why I guess, me and William somehow, despite the age difference, I mean like William is what, 36?
Muka 36, tapi proper age is 27.
Oh, okay. So, for example, me and William, the age gap is only 2 years, right? So I know it's shocking for a lot of you. No, I'm kidding, right? So I'm 42, right? Despite the age difference, from a preference point of view, it's the same simply because as of today, the need as a bachelor person is the same, right?
Okay.
So that's our point of view, lah.
Because I'm also still trying to figure out the metric, like because if I'm a bachelor, then the era makes more sense. But if I'm the bachelor, I will stay Solaris Park for what? So, but if I'm a family, the clickability makes more sense for Solaris, the park, because like I think in terms of facility, there's one blind spot here where a lot of people don't even talk about, which is the car park experience. Like the era car park experience, a bit havoc one, because I don't know how they do it. They just add a traffic light next to Jalan Segambut, right? In the center just for their own development. I don't know how they do it really. A lot of respect. The other one is like if it's Solaris Park, the entire entry to the project is amazing. You can drive Faizul car can go in. Won't get scratched and all, but if you go in the era, you will get scratched.
Okay.
So like then that was the complaint for phase 1 residents. So the residents all write to me, hey, my car kena scratch, can sue developer or not? Sorry, my car is not big enough to have experience of such.
Right.
Yeah.
Then if that's the case, as far as from a family standpoint point of view, then wouldn't agile makes more sense then?
Yeah.
Pretty secluded, pretty quiet, right? So I think for own stay, if you've got, and requires such a little bit bigger bit of a space, then I think agile Mount Kiara actually is a better choice.
Yeah.
Compared to even Solaris Park.
That's why my suggestion, like for the facilities point of view, right? If you just add one more metric of target audience and the relevant score, I think that would make more sense.
Yeah.
Right.
And I guess my last question to all of you here, and I don't know whether you guys agree with me. I think all RT products should be excluded from this particular rating.
Hey, no, I disagree. I disagree.
No, but here's the thing, right? Their product is completely unique. From a looks point of view, from a facade point of view, like what you say, the intention has always been about making it as Instagrammable as possible. Does that make sense? Right? Whereby none of these developers are competing in that category.
And for if you guys watch the YouTube channel, then you would have understand. But I don't assume everybody watch. So basically, if you look into all Arte's new projects, right, it's just a basic Rumah whip-like structure. I didn't say it's like Rumah whip, It's just all buildings, you strap down the facade all look the same one.
Ouch!
Hey,
Ouch!
so, okay, wait, I haven't finished, right? It's just, we all look the same in bone, right? But just that they add in a skin intentionally for impressions. Just like Arte Cheras, just like Arte, the other one in Solaris, coming up, Arte MK, the Penang one also. But in terms of the marketing costs, instead of spreading everywhere like the Era and lose money in terms of development, they don't make as much. But what the Arte group did is fabulous in terms of marketing. I just put very targeted and I do cosmetics. I make the room like winter-like room, right? The bouncy cell, whatever. Something very similar to that is also another developer in, what's the name already? In Seputeh also got the whale come out. Oh, the developer of Park 3.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's also a bit extravagant. The facade will have butterfly and all.
UP.
UP, correct.
UP.
So they are the lower metric one approach compared to what we have in Arte. So from Arte point of view, right, they develop a fan base because when I went to Arte Cheras, people actually like the out of this world kind of design. When you go into a room, there's a horse head, like muka kuda, like for what? To me, like why I want to see the? I don't even know the horse, but they like it. They are paying money for it, and but for Solaris Park kind of approach, you use the aluminium trims, you use all the pebble wash, you use all the marble chips and whatsoever, right? Nobody knows. So to me, a swimming pool is a swimming pool. So that's why this one is very hard. That's why I always, like, for those who just asking like why we don't put out all the unfurnished or project tak siap, right? I agree totally. I always have very weird impression of how come people win awards using renderings. A lot of property awards, tak siap one, but all use rendering. So it's like to compare who's rendering more beautiful, is it? I don't understand.
I mean, at the end of the day, the awards are paid for, right? So I mean, like, what's new lah? So look, guys, if you want to hear a politician speak, this is not the channel to go to. This is not the forum to go to. We are here for facts. I'm just stating a fact. I've got a lot of friends who are property developers who are paying for these awards, and to me, there's nothing wrong for them to get an advantage versus the others, right? So at the end of the day, our job is to see what makes sense. You see, you have never seen Ihan going over to do a drone video on a project site, right, of a land. It's always a completed property lah. There's a reason lah. So we like completed stuff, right? We want to see something. We want to see what's the actual thing. And what's most important thing here is that it's what being promised, right, as part of the spec, is what they have delivered, and better still, have they delivered something better than what they promised? All right. So for me, this is where I think Era did a little bit better compared to the rest. I think the rest of it completely meet the expectation. Era was the one that, to be honest, I was actually quite surprised. Okay. All right. LB, continue.
So yeah, so we have the facility grading. So yeah, if for me, I like water features. I'm more family oriented. I suka all the landscaping. I choose Solaris or Anjali lah. If you are segregating Dutamas and non-Dutamas lah, or the Era is also one of our choice lah, because I'm still young. I still need some commercial. So the Era is my top one. Okay.
Have you been to Anjali? Have you been to Anjali?
I actually have watch your video as well, but actually I want I got no time to actually go to Anjali itself. I've been to Era the others lah, but Anjali I tak dapat access to go in. The other agent want to bring me Maybe they know me good. Then okay, then I
give me a
wait.
call, ma. Okay.
Then I say, oh,
Okay,
Anjali, okay, no agent to attend to me. I was like, okay, maybe I doesn't look like I'm for Anjali good. So yeah, okay, we continue to the next slide. So we are going to talk about something more technical on the per square foot rentals per square foot. Like if you bought this area and you rent out, what's the rental per square foot or the yield? So we have Solaris Park here. The first one is completed in 2022. Total units 576. The land size is about 3.67 acres. So actually it's considered quite small piece of land, but the way they designed it and also the way they use up all the setback, everything is, for me, is actually quite good on the way how they arrange it and also their facility side. So on the facade, okay, because I only grade I explain first because I only grade Arte as the grade A among all the facade. Okay, so this is why I grade Solaris Park at grade B. Okay, so on the facilities spec, it's also on my point of view is grade B lah. So the density per acre is about 157. So about the people that can accommodate in this area, per acre per unit is about 470 people. It's not really that high dense as well. The distance towards MRT is about 1.1 kilometer to MRT 3 to Damas, and also the distance to mall, which everyone is advertising it, the Publica is about 400 meter. So per square foot wise, currently the asking for Solaris is about 1,001 to 1,002 lah. So average is 1,195 lah, but I got see some 1,002 more than 1,002. Rental per square foot is about 5.15, and gross rental is about 5.18%. So next slide, we have Ate Mon Kiara, so which is completed in 2020. Total is about 1,007. So the land size is about 3.3 acres. So this is one of the highest density in the comparable. So the facade is grade A. Okay, this is very unique for me lah. Okay, so I grade it as grade A. Facility spec on view, I grade as grade B. Unit per density per acre is about 517 unit. People per acre is about 1,005 people because the land size is actually quite small, but they have a lot of number of units in this small piece of land. Distance towards MRT is that we are measuring is about MRT 3 to Damas stations is about 1.3 kilometer. The distance towards our Publica is about 750 meter. So price per square foot is about close to 1,000 lah. Rental per square foot is about 3.40 ringgit. The yield for this Arte is actually as everyone expectation is not really very performing because this is not for residential. Most of people buy Artis because for investment, they go for Airbnb hotels, they use it. So the yield on the rental side is not actually that high comparing to others in the area. So it's about 4.12%. Next one, we have Agile Mon Kiara, which is completed in 2019. The total is about 813. Land size 10.16 acres, one of the biggest. So this is why I say the facility spec, I would create grade C because I feel that they can do it better on their big size of land lah. So on facade view is just grade B. Unit density per acre is about 80 unit because the land size is actually very big. People per acre is about 280 people. Distance to MRT, today we're mentioning about MRT 3, the Dutama stations, is about 1.5 kilometer. To mall, Publica is about 450 meter lah. So price per square foot is about 900 to 950 lah. So as far as I know, Agile Mon Kiara, once they were launched last time, it's about 700 per square foot. But today they actually got about 900 to 950. So rentals per square foot is about 3.70 ringgit. Gross rental yield is about 4 ringgit. 4.86%. So next one, we have North Kiara area. We have Anjali, which is completed in 2017. Total is about 395. So it's actually considered quite low dense with the land size of 4.93 acres. Facades is grade B, facilities is grade B, unit density per acre is 80 unit, people per acre is 280, so it's actually quite low dense developments in the area. Distant towards MRT is actually MRT3 Bukit Segambut station. It's about 900 meters. Distant towards more, they're actually measuring today is about Publica, so it's a 3 kilometer. Price per square foot is about 640 to 660, so average is 648. Rentals per square foot is 2.96 ringgit. I will actually say in this North Kiara area is mostly on residential side. But I know today they're actually having Miranda Hills Papyrus that actually launched in the area, and they are targeting the French school or French international school, the expert coming in, and they are selling about 700, which we are going to discuss about the undercons price later on. So the gross rental yield for North Kiara, Anjali is one of the most performing one. It's about 5.47%. Referring actually towards the bigger size. Okay, on the next slide, we have Concentor in North Kiara as well, completed in 2015. Total units about 440 for the land size of 5 acres. Facade is grade C. For me, is considered quite basic. Firstly, is grade C is unit density per acre is 88 unit. People per acre is 308 people. Distance to MRT we are measuring today is about MRT3 Bukit Segambut station is 2 kilometer. Distance towards more we are measuring is Publica is 2.1 kilometer. So Concentor because it's completed for quite some time. It's about 9 years for now already. So the price per square foot is about 600. Rentals per square foot is 2 ringgit 40 cents because as I explained, this area is actually more on a residential than a commercial area. So the rental is 4.8%. So next one. We have the Segambut area. We have Savio. Riana Dutamas is completed 2021. The total units about close to 2,000. Land size about 16 acres. They have Savio phase 2 coming up. Facade, a grade C for me. You can see, look at the pictures. For me, it's quite basic. So nothing special. Facility spec is grade B. Unit density per acre is 121 unit. For people wise, it's about 424 people because the land size is actually quite big, but actually quite close towards the road. So if for those who are really looking for own stay, maybe you might not really like about Savio Riana Dutamas comparing to the area or other, the pretender or non-pretender. Okay, so the price per distance towards MRTs, we are measuring is MRT3 Jalan Kuching Station, is about 1.3 kilometer. Distance towards more is Publica, is about 3 kilometer. So the price per square foot is about 600. So rentals per square foot is 2.43 ringgit. Gross rental yield is about 4.77%. So next one, we have the last one in the comparison, which is the era Dutanov, completed in 2022. Total units about 2,000 plus, about 2,002. Land size for 14.8 acres. So we have rain in this area. So this below have commercial as well. So the facade grade is grade B, facility spec is grade A because of number of facilities and also different concept. Unit density per acre is 148 unit. People per acre is about 500 people. So this is considered one of the highest density in Segambut. Okay, not comparing to North Kiara or something else, but just Segambut itself is considered one of the highest. Distance towards MRT is 400 meters towards MRT3 Jalan Kuching Station. Distance towards more is 4 kilometers to Publica. So the area is the highest selling and also asking in Segambut area is about 650 to 700. And I know there are upcoming phase 2 is selling about 720, 750. Okay, rental per square foot is about 2.90 ringgit. Gross rental is about 5.15%. So next slide would be actually on the facade view. Okay, so we rank like Ate, Solaris Park, based on our preference. So we have Ate at number 1 because it's, for me, it's more like iconic. Like from far, people look at it, oh, this is Ate. People can recognize this is why I rate it as the number 1. Then we have Solaris Park, number 2, the area number 3, Anjali, North Carolina, number 4, Ajal, number 5, Concentor is number 6, and Savio Dutanov at number 7. Okay, so this is on the facade side. So next slide. we have the own stay summary for Dutamas area and the pretender area on the next slide. So on this Dutamas area that we are comparing today, which is completed Solaris Park, Ate, and also Agile for new one, okay, new. Okay, so this is the summary of it. So comparing to like distant towards more, if you are youngsters, you need some commercials, okay. Solaris Park, distant towards more is the closest lah, and also the lowest density of people per acre, but it would be slightly further from the MRT stations in Dutamas lah. Okay, so then the next one we have Ate Montiara. At the middle is like not really close to the mall or not really close to the MRT. And also one of the highest density lah. So for me, Ate is not really suitable for own stay. Mainly, actually people go for Airbnb. People usually stay in Ate. So last one is Agile, which has the biggest landscaping, not landscaping, the biggest size of land acres. But unfortunately for me, I think they could do better for their land treatment. So this is why I grade C for their facility spec. About distance towards more is considered closer compared to Ate, and however the MRT towards the Dutamas station is a bit far lah. So density per acre is about 280. So this is for Dutamas area. So Solaris Park is considered number 1, okay, for Dutamas. Okay, next slide is actually on the pretender side. We have North Kara and also SEGAMBUT area. So this is the summary table that we are talking about. So with the highest density in the pretended side is actually the area lah. So we have quite many units coming up for their phase 2 as well. It's about 2002 in the total. So however, this is the closest towards the MRT 3 stations. Okay, so and also if you're not comparing the Publica as the mall, if you're comparing the commercials, the area come with the commercial side. So for me, on an own stay point of view, in terms of sort of like accessibility in terms of towards commercials, I would rank the area. And also as a working adults, if I don't drive, I take MRT, even though usually I drive. Okay, but I would say the area is one of the top own stay with the facility that they offer in the area lah. This is on our side. Okay, so next slide. So of all, including Dutamas and also the pretender, for me, the most undervalued own stay, I would give this award towards the area, considering the effort they're putting for their land sizes and also the commercials and the prices and the accessibilities, convenience of it. I would say the area lah. Okay, this is on my point of view. Maybe any of the panelists would like to add on, or do you think others should be like the most undervalued own stay?
I think for the non proper Dutamas, then I think it's pretty fair. Era would be the best facilities, pretty decent location too, not too far away from the actual Publica compared to the rest. You know, a pretty decent views too. And I'm a sucker for good views, so I take it as an important consideration with commercial accessibility lah. As far as the proper Dutamas side, for me personally, I guess you know, I would go for Solaris Park. I wouldn't say it's undervalued lah. I'm paying a freaking premium to stay in Solaris Park. You know, for personal preferences. Again, I'm a sucker for good views. I like the whole sprawling KL city center skyline view. I also like the fact that the mosque is nearby. So as a Muslim, you know, if I'm not too lazy, jalan kaki je boleh pergi masjid. So which is I guess you know, not a preference for a lot of people, but for me it's an important preference. Dah tua kan.
Undervalue here sounds weird. Yeah, so I think the undervalue, like when you say the era is undervalued compared to to Savvy, then you compare to Tuan, you compare to furthermore inside, right? Like, then is there like a relevance between density versus facility provided? And the facilities also, there are dimension to it, like how many levels of facilities. I think the cheapest way to do it is set in one facility floor above the elevator car park. That's the easiest way, right? The next level is to put at the rooftop. Then another way is when your land canvas is so big, you got place to put in your creek. You got place to put in your rainforest. So that's our next level. So there's also dimensions to facilities. That's why when you look into Savvy, then it's the bread and butter kind of thing, like economy rice. This one is economy rice plus drumstick gao gao. So yeah, also then you then can add in some sea urchin or whatsoever. So that's the difference that I see when you look into overvalue. But then what amazed me about this developer, because I met the developer myself, right? We had lunch. Is when block A and block B are done, still got block C and D, right? 100% of facilities are completed already. That's the very amazing, genuine part about it, lah. Means like, technically, when you want to hand over any unit, right, all facilities must be completed. And they designated, like whatever we see right now is only, if not mistaken, it's like 72% of the facade of the facilities only still haven't complete, because block D is not completed yet. So what's also great here, it's besides the facilities, is while block D is being constructed, everyone still live their life safely. Again, like, okay, this is beyond research, right? You need to go on site, talk to a lot of people, then only you get insights like that. Also, a lot of influencers stay inside. You see all the fitness influencers, right? When they go and do their skipping rope within the gym itself, in the center part of the gym, there's this hill where all the pretty girls with their sports bras and all do skipping, right? All do in the same location. So now to an extent where I now look into the facility, I know which project is that.
Wow. Okay. That level of insight, Sean.
Yeah. So that's the. But the food there not very nice lah. So the rainforest there got a lot of food truck. Actually, don't go lah. Overpriced stuff. But
I mean, Raymond is already moving in lah. He doesn't care lah. So I think he heard bikini babes, jumping around, skipping ropes, and doesn't matter anymore about the bad food,
So that's why, like, when you say undervalue, right? But this is significantly in more premium compared to the rest along Jalan Segambut. So when you say undervalue, like how, right? That is also, I don't know how you are supposed to make that statement. Because a lot of people, when they see this, most undervalued, right, means buy lah, right? Does it mean buy?
I think if you look at it, I think the argument here we are making here is that we look at it purely from an investment point of view. We like to buy either the cheapest property there, or you buy the one with the best facility, right? Which is why the Battle of Maluri, for example, it became very clear, right? While RM2K was widely criticized, right, as a little Hong Kong, it has turned out to be the winner, right? And while the facade looks quite average, is because of the facilities that basically is driving, quite significant rental values. And obviously, when you look at the price point of today of all the subsale property along Segambut, which is all hovering about 600 plus to about 700 each per square foot, right? So if you're talking about comparable size versus the facility being offered versus the accessibility versus the view and all of that, we think that ERA is undervalued in relative to that.
Okay.
Right? This is obviously not a recommendation to buy, because clearly we are talking about own stay, right? So own stay, again, is not something that you're looking to make a lot of significant profit, because the second part of this today is going to be investment. Investment is a lot more straightforward, right? But for own stay, then the question comes in, what is the average of what the asking price point of these other guys, right, versus ERA today, and versus the facility, for example, what is being offered today, versus the location, versus the view? We do think that ERA has got a significant advantage. Yeah, so it can only be two things, guys, moving forward, right? So it's either, for example, everything else holds in value, right, in SEGAMBUT. So ERA goes up because it's undervalued, right? Because it has got better facility, we think it's got better accessibility and all that. Or ERA maintains its value as the most premium one, and the rest of it has to drop a little bit more in value. So there's only two things. So that's how we look at it, lah. The premium versus the rest today is not very high. Yet we think from a facility point of view, given that what we've experienced in, in fact, for example, if you guys watch our podcast last 2 weeks, right? An operator called Believe, right, basically did a comparison between the room rental demand of M2K versus Razak City, right? RC residences, right? And the demand is worlds apart, largely because of facilities. And obviously proximity to MRT, proximity to a mall, commercial availability, etc. Right? So for that, we think that ERA for Unstay point of view is quite undervalued. We think the people who bought it all, I think, paid a fair price point. You met a developer personally. I don't think with this kind of facilities they're making much money, right? So like I said, I'm really surprised by developers and their development. This one somehow, to me, caught me a little bit by surprise. So that's how we deem undervalued. Yes. So it's not undervalued as a recommendation to buy, right? Because if later when you go to the rental yield, it's still negative cash flow, right? So we're not recommending you guys to go and buy negative cash flow property, right? But if you do compare with other property which is completed roughly about the same time versus the current asking prices today, this seems to be an obvious choice. At least for me, for LB, I don't know whether William agrees or not, right? But I suspect he does, right? Right.
But the best part about this project, right, a lot of people didn't mention is the direct access road from the car park back to the other side over the river. That one, a lot of people don't really talk about it. And that's like if you fly the drone also tak nampak. So that one is like you really gotta walk the side and but you can only go out, you cannot come in. I think can come in, but one way kind of thing. So that one, so I can see like what you say is true when the value goes up or the rest go down. So this makes sense. I get it now.
So I mean, if I'm a tenant today and I'm a young tenant today, right? Let's say I'm a tenant today, I'm a young tenant today. The facilities in this place basically is hands down, much a lot better, right, compared to the rest, right? So it's like very significant difference. So I think this is basically a guide for people looking to buy own stay, something with balanced, good facilities. People are looking to rent. Again, like I said, this is basically a guide. I think rental today is relatively quite low as of today. So yeah, that's how we view undervalued.
Yep. Noted.
Okay. Alvin?
Okay, so this is our poll that actually we asked from our panelists.
Why all same one?
Got differences, William.
Okay lah, William say agile. But Sean, I'm surprised. You're not bothered by the mosque.
No. I
Okay.
visited the unit where it's framing the mosque.
Right.
So I'm an architectural student. I'm an architecture fan. So I look at it more of a architecture standpoint.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Yeah. So
but the unit tak jadi jual pun lah. So because of
I
that
see.
also lah.
Right. And the price point is pretty high for Solaris Park. I think the cheapest that anyone has ever gotten is probably closer to about 1,000 ringgit per square foot after all discount and rebate. Right. That was the lowest I can remember. Right. And I think later when we look at the from an investment point of view, today's subsale is asking about 1,001, 1,002. So which to me is a small surprise for me, given the fact that I think a lot of people, especially if you are talking about this area and this kind of price point, they're not going to be a lot of so-called wealthy Malay buyers looking to buy a 1.2 million ringgit 2-bedroom 3-bedroom house in front of a mosque. So tak payah cerita the non-Malay, even the Malay also don't think about doing so.
Yep.
Right. So like I said, I'm a little bit surprised. LB also seem to not be bothered. I think time has changed lah.
But there's a connection to Publica 2.
Right.
I don't see anything yet lah. So I just flew the drone like 2 days ago. Pun tak nampak apa-apa pun lah.
Yeah. Okay. Long way to go lah, Publica too, I guess.
Publica making too much money.
I mean, for me, like I said, the decision was quite obvious. It has got one of the highest spec, bunch of rooftop facilities. Views are quite awesome. In fact, over there, you can basically see 5 so-called towers, 2 from the mosque, and 6 towers, 2 from the mosque and 6 from KL. Your Menara, KL, KLCC, PNB 118, and TRX. You can see all. Right? So, view-wise, quite awesome. Right? I used to stay nearby. So it's one of my favorite views in KL.
Oh, view so important to you, huh?
Yes, I'm a property man. I like views.
My property man must like view one, man.
I think so, yeah. I'm a sucker for good views. I don't care about the staircase of the bomba and none of this. I really don't, right? So to me, you want to sell me something, sell me a rooftop pool with unblocked LCC view, you sell it below median, I'll say we'll buy the whole block. Right? So a very simple way to con me. If you are a developer looking at this video, it's very easy to scam Faizul and Farcap to buy into your project. Right? Rooftop pool, KLCC view, tile below median, shut up, take my money. So very straightforward. Very straightforward, guy.
Curious, huh?
Sure.
Bukit Tungku view or KL Skyline view?
KL Skyline.
Bukit Tungku.
KL Skyline, LB Bukit Tungku. Okay.
KL Skyline.
Golf course view, forest reserve view, or KL Skyline view?
Forest
KL Skyline.
Okay. So I'm like testing your eye. This is like lens testing eye. So
Go
KL
ahead.
Skyline view from, we are about 15 kilometers away.
Right.
So from 15 kilometers away or 5 kilometers away. Okay, imagine if you are in BBCC looking at PNB versus Mont Kiara looking at PNB.
Mont Kiara looking at PNB.
Okay.
BBCC, you can't see shit, bro.
Hey, no, can lah. It's your face lah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't see it. You can't admire the KLCT skyline that near. Unfortunately.
So this is me trying to gauge the size of your TV.
Got it. So I can tell you what's the best view I've seen of KLCC skyline.
Okay.
Which also includes your Bukit Tungku view, by the way. Right? Was actually in Publica's top floor office.
Publica top floor office. Lee Chong Wei
Used
office.
used to be Sapura's office, right? Sapura Tower. Today is now privately owned. I went to a billionaire's office, and his meeting room has got an unblocked view of Bukit Tungku and the 4 towers. Right? So to me, that's the perfect leg. Right? So the second best one is probably from a corner unit from a sunny Mont Kiara.
Okay, tomorrow I go fly drone.
So you know what we are buying, right? At the tip of Pasaran Duta Mas. So the view at the level 20 will be unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, when I say I like this view, it's not just for me. I will get tired of this view. But like I said, I'm an investor at first, old stayer, last one basically. So the day that I'm sick of this view, I know some other sucker will pay a premium of 20 to 30% for the same view.
So when you open the unit, it's wow. Take my money.
Sold. It's sold, right? It's sold. So basically, like I said, I'm a real estate man. I want to make money on all the property I buy for own stay or for investment, which is why views are important. I want to come back and see this view, number one, and I feel happy about it because I get to see the whole KL skyline. Number two here is that the day that I don't like it anymore, I want to stay in somewhere quiet, nearby a forest or something like that. When I want to rent it out, I know I can rent a 10, 15, 20% higher easily. Right?
Oh, what a different school of thought. I'm a golf course guy.
Golf are nice too.
Yeah. So like, okay.
That's that. Now we go for investment. So guys, first part, We spoke about own stay preference. So that one is a little bit more, a lot of personal preferences, right? So now we're going to talk about investment. So investment, really a bit more straightforward. It's highly number driven, right? Highly number driven. This is, for example, anyone here looking to invest in this area, right? I saw a couple of people asking about tuan lah and apa semua ni lah, right? So we're gonna cover all of that now, right? So this is the second part of investment lah. So LB, the floor is yours.
Okay, so we're going to talk about investment, which is mostly data driven lah. So research, right? So we talk about numbers, rather than you pay for something because you like it, you love it. But of course, if you have to pay for negative cash flow, then yeah. So how we look at the number first. Okay, so the 7 criteria.
So guys, 7 criteria is what we've been using at FACAP to evaluate what property makes sense from an investment point of view, what property that does not make sense, right? So basically, the first criteria we talk about median. Are you overpaying, or are you underpaying, or are you paying a market value? So that's the first one, right? Now, second thing is new versus old, is that what I think a lot of people don't understand is that when you buy an old property in the area, what is the price that you should be paying? Because you cannot and can never compare an old property versus a new property. If you're buying a new car versus buying an old car, right? So a lot of people seem to have the preference of buying an old property. They pay a premium only to realize the property then drop in value subsequently, okay? Because you do not understand, right? What is the basic premium or discount that you should be looking at when you buy new versus old? Then you talk about tier, right? So tier means every property is either located in tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. So Duta Mas is part of tier 1. Your SEGAMBUT site is basically part of tier 2. Even though it's just next to each other, but tier 1 price point and the mentality of the people who stay there is very different compared to the people staying in tier 2. I got asked this question last week, right, during our property tour, right? Tier 1 is whereby you got expat staying there. You got Japanese, you got Korean, you got Angmo, right? So all tier 1 area has got expat. So your Duta Mas, Mont Kiara, Hartamas, TRX, Bukit Bintang, KLCC, Bangsa South, Desa Park City, these are all part of tier 1. Tier 2 is where your middle upper class local, people like Ihem, people, would normally want to stay. When they have money, they will stay there. So they don't like to stay in Angmo area because, everything is overpriced here. So, and then I see a comment, rich versus poor, right? No, it's not true. The people in tier 1 and people in tier 2 basically buy the same value of property. Kota Damansara, as of today, is 800 to about 1,000 ringgit per square foot, is still tier 2. Mont Kiara, you can still buy things at below 800 ringgit per square foot, but it is still tier 1. The difference here in tier 1 versus tier 2, and okay, tier 3 is basically your bit more ulu side, whereby you can still find landed property below 500,000. So these are tier 3. So tier 1 and tier 2 normally property price, dengar betul lah guys, the tier 1, tier 2 normally property price is the same per square foot. The difference here is that in tier 1, there's no limit in rental. In tier 2, there's always a limit in rental. Okay, so I'll give you an example. TTDI is next to Mont Kiara, is next to Bangsa. Yet TTDI is tier 2. Mont Kiara, Bangsa is tier 1. Now guys, I'm going to ask you a question. If you think paying 25 ringgit for a nasi lemak is expensive, you're not staying in tier 1 area. It's as simple as that. In tier 1, there's no mentality as something which is too cheap or too expensive. There's just things, okay? In Bangsa, a 30, 40 ringgit nasi lemak, people don't bat an eyelid. In Mont Kiara, it's the same. But you try to sell a 30 ringgit nasi lemak in TTDI restaurant, not going to last very long, I guess. So just the difference is the mentality of the people in there spending money. Which is why, for example, in Bangsa, you can actually rent landed property, I guess, bungalow. My mentor has a couple of these, and they are renting at 60,000 per month. 60,000 ringgit to rent a bungalow kat Bangsa. Okay? Now, is this logical to you guys? Tak logic, right? 60,000 ringgit to rent a bungalow dekat Bangsa. And he owns multiple of such property. In Mont Kiara, there's a bunch of bungalows and landed property that can be rented. Super link dekat sini is 15,000 ringgit. Super link, not even family, not even bungalow. 15,000 ringgit. Bungalow can rent all the way to 25 and 30,000. So that's the difference between tier 1. You go to TTDI, you try to rent property above 10,000, people say you crazy. That's the difference between tier 1, tier 2. So which is why Duta Mas is not the same as your North Kiara. It's not the same as Duta North, right? So that's the primary difference, right? So all the Sentul, Setapak, these are basically part of tier 2. Shah Alam is part of tier 2. Bangi part of tier 2. So anything which the local like to go and stay, the moment they hit middle class, they will basically go and stay in this place called tier 2. Local berduit akan duduk kat tier 2. So then, of course, if you look at the 7 criteria, we got supply. So you have to obviously observe the supply, whether the supply makes sense ataupun tidak. Booster is what new story or infrastructure that will come to the area that will help increase property value. Maturity point is typically when is the booster going to be completed so that you make money. And last but not least is multiple rental option, right? So multiple rental option is basically after you buy the property, how many realistic rental strategy that you can basically use to get to break even point. And to earn that par capital, right? If you want to buy property for investment, you need to have minimum 2 rental strategy that can get you to break even. If you're talking about, for example, maturity point means you are buying something today at a negative cash flow, but there might be an MRT ataupun officers coming along to the point, it will help increase the demand and the property value. So that's 7 criteria. So it's a bit complicated, but again, I've got bonuses for people who sign up for tonight's video. Okay, the team will send you the link to the full 7 criteria video. Guys, just watch 7 criteria video. It's 2 hours long. But the moment you understand 7 criteria, I can tell you no seller, no developer will be able to go and scam you from buying a bad property. Alright? It's the best 2 hours you will spend. And again, it's free. Alright, we're going to send it to you. Check your email lah. Boleh ya guys? So this is bonus again for people who are registering and joining tonight. Cool? So, Albi?
We continue from the 7 criteria to the next slide. So we are going to talk why are we excluding all today, as this is not really comparable in terms of their facility, their prices, and also as an investment point of view, the yield from the rental that I'm going to get for today. So we have Putra Mas, which is actually closer towards our Duta Mas, but we excluded it because for us it is considered quite old to be comparable to those old diamond in the comparison. So we have Sri Putra Mas and Royal Domain, which is completed in 2004 and 2007. The total units 1,002 or 2,000 So the asking price for these two is about 400 plus only. So the whole unit for a 3-bedroom is just about 1,006 to 2,004. So just for 3-bedroom, which is actually considered not really that high in this area. And so the asking price of 380,000 to 580,000. This is why we excluded with the size that they are offering and the rental that they're going to get.
So for example, right, if you look at the Putra Mas and Royal Domain, they are basically just next to the era, right? It's actually very near to the era. And yet when you compare, right, the asking prices of the era versus this 2 property is worlds apart. Okay, and the reason why this happened is because if you look at it from a rental point of view and the asking price is worlds apart, right? Simply because you have to also remember this. Number one, a lot of people who are buying this property are normally a first time or second time home buyer. Okay, normally people want to buy something newer compared to something older, right? Now, if you are looking at the older properties, there's only 2 signs. Number one, you are on a budget and you just want to buy something cheap, which is why you are looking at the older property. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, there's nothing wrong. But typically, people who basically look for the older property are people who are a little bit more on a budget. So they look at the numbers and the dollars and cents very, very clearly, right? So which is why you see today, from an asking price point of view, for old property, it's very hard for the non-Duta Mas area to actually breach above 500 ringgit per square foot, especially properties that is already completed before 2010. So that's our definition of old, guys. So typically, new versus old is that any property that was completed 5 years ago and after that is considered as new property in the segment. And from a facility point of view, they are different. From a spec point of view, they are different. Rental point of view is also very different. Okay, which is why, like I said, when you compare a property in the area, you cannot compare an old property, which is 20 years ago, versus the next new property, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. then you will forever buy the older property because to you, the old property cheap while in the same area, right? This is the mistake that I made when I first begin to invest, right? I don't understand the preference and the premium towards new property, okay? So, long story short, I guess, I'm going to give you the summary. Do you know how to make money for sure? You will make money for sure, when you are buying a new property at a price point of similar to what the old property is selling. Why do I say you confirm make money? Because when your property is completed, let's say, for example, right, you look at this property right today, RM500,000, right? You buy a new property, 3 bedroom, RM500,000. Old property, RM500,000. I can tell you, guys, with absolute certainty, no one who's going to rent from you 5 years from now will prefer old property at the same price point. They will go for the older property compared to the new property. I wouldn't say no one now. I would say 95% would have that preference. So if you can buy a new car by the same price point as the old car, it becomes a no-brainer decision, right? So property is the same. But is it easy to go and find a new property selling at the old property price point? It's also next to impossible. Faham, I guess? So this one is a confirm making money tip. Now, the other second tip here is that if you have to make a decision, buying an old property, let's say, for example, at RM500 per square foot versus a new property at, let's say, a 15 to 20% premium, I would also always suggest, if the spec is going to be the same, always go for the new property. Because most of the time, you're going to be able to go and fetch above 20% premium rental anyway for the new property. So far, follow? So these are two tips. Number one, you can buy new property at the old property price point. Just buy new. You'll be an idiot to buy the old one, really. Number two here is that if you can pay less than 20% premium, in most instances, especially if the spec is the same, don't buy rumah with new spec versus the old condo spec. Again, spec has to be sama lah, guys. Faham? Kau jangan pergi putar belit, twist my statement. Or Faizul say always buy new. Then you go buy low cost spec new property, right? Then compare the luxury condo 10 years old. So you have to be logical lah. Apple to apple comparison. Condo versus condo. Apartment versus apartment. This is a very expensive tip, which is why, like I said, please watch the 7 criteria video, right? We give it for free so that you don't get scammed by sellers. Which is why we have a lot of people who are selling real estate don't like Par Capital. They also don't like Iheng, basically, right? Because we always talk about what is facts, right? And we get a lot of haters and, we make it very difficult for people to sell bullshit properties to you. But if we think about it, what I say makes sense, right? There's no tenant for the same price point will actually pay an old property. You also won't, right? So therefore, always buy new, especially when the premium is less than 20%. Cool?
Okay, so this is why we excluded, because we are talking about the price point and the specs wise. So we are going to go to the data side. So on the next slide, we have is the summary table that we have concluded for the old property in the Dutamas and the Pretender area. Just to clarify, the data is collected by June 2024. You don't ask me 2 years later, why is it the yield is like that? Okay, it's by today, updated data. So in the Dutamas area, we have Solaris and also Icon residents in the old comparable. And also for the North Kiara side, we have Verdana, Changkat Villa and Sinaria as the comparison, as the Pretender side for the non-Dutamas. So we has listed out based on the layout, the size, and also the whole unit for the layout, the asking rental, and also rental per square foot wide as an investment point of view, and based on the development itself, the average rental, and also the asking average asking if you will want to buy today, or if you are owner you wanted to sell. This is actually as a guideline how much is the market is actually asking to sell at this layout, these sizes. Okay, and also the yield, the per square foot, and also per square foot by developments. And this below median, we're actually comparing to the transacted data. So we have the median of transacted in Dutamas for old property is 818 ringgit per square foot. So for those non-Dutamas old property is about 5 ringgit 38. So this is why we are not putting in Putramas in, because their transacted is actually not even or actually it's about 500 or not even more than 500. This is why we did not include it in. So for the transacted, this is the data we're actually looking at. So if we are talking about below median, for current asking for Solaris and Icon, they actually owner are asking to sell is actually lower than the median transacted in the area lah. So this is actually set being as a guideline lah. For Solaris, this is actually where the Publica is lah. Okay, so if you guys are crying, why is it Solaris like so old, but it's asking so high or comparing to Icon Resident, which is just about 10 years ago. It's actually Dutamas is actually where the Publica is lah. Okay, so about connectivities and yeah, if you know how I mean the area of Dutamas itself, I think Solaris actually stand out among all the old diamond in the area lah. So for yield wise, we are comparing on all lah, okay, all. So we have Solaris Dutamas at first, then we have Villa Crystal and also Verdana North Kiara. Then on the transacted per square foot wise, we for the area for Dutamas is about 818. So non-Dutamas transacted per square foot is about 538. Okay, it's not 5 ringgit. Okay, so per square foot Dutamas, I mean, is the lowest. Okay, I mean the lower price point is Icon Residence, which actually by the government they are actually asking to sell about 733 lah. So below median about 10%. Okay, so for non-Dutamas one is actually our Changkat View, one of the oldest in the area. So it's about asking about 441. So below median about 18%. Okay, so this is the summary of our old development. So we are proceed.
So guys, I want you to monitor these two numbers, right, very carefully, which is why we properly define the area of Dutamas and the Pretender. Look at it properly. What is the average transacted per square foot? In non-Dutamas, today it stands at 538 ringgit per square foot. And when you compare to the prime portion of Dutamas, is 818 ringgit per square foot. Guys, that's a whopping of 50% difference from 540 to 820 ringgit per square foot. This is the difference between tier 1 versus tier 2, right? And I'm talking about old property. This is talking about old property. Now, move on to the next one. When you compare new property, the difference is again comparable. Today, when you compare to the non-Dutamas side of new property completed less than 5 years ago, right? You are looking at about 641 ringgit per square foot. And when you look at the Dutamas side, right, it hovers at about 1,072 ringgit per square foot. Right? So that's the difference between proper Dutamas and the Pretenders. Okay? That's really the primary difference. The number of people who are willing to pay 1,000 ringgit per square foot, 800 ringgit per square foot in sub-sale, 1,000 ringgit per square foot in primary market is, it's just at a different level, right? So again, we're not making the borders up. At the end of the day, the people who's going to stay in the Dutamas side versus the people who's going to stay in the non-Dutamas side or Dutamas Pretender are not the same segment of people, not the same category of people. And they are willing to pay a completely different premium to stay in this particular area. Okay? Carry on, LB.
So we also do for the new one, we actually have the comparable in that we actually taken in the first few slides. So we segregated according to layout. So actually that's one trend that we actually can observe for the new development. Actually they are offering smallest size already, or we consider layout is like 1 bedroom. There's a more and more new development offering 1 bedroom rather than going to big sizes in Mont Kiara area. So I would say it's like observing with the current youngest investment trend, right? Where actually people rather to rent the whole unit itself rather than sharing with people. And also we can see we actually can build or on the double side they actually build smaller so they can build more and more, right, to accommodate in the acre of land. So to accommodate the teenagers or the youngest investment side of you. So for Solaris Park, even for one bedroom, the whole unit rental is about 3,008 in the area, which is like, yeah, a single bedroom can go out such high rental in this Tutamas area. Okay, so we have RT, Agile, the Era, Savio, Anjali, which is the pretender site, where Savio have we collected the data for one bedroom is about 1,000 units. So the differences of it actually for comparing to Solaris or RT Montero for the one bedroom actually is a quite huge difference. It's about 1,000 plus difference in the rental that offering in the market. So about the yield, the best one in all the new development in the area is Solaris Park, second followed by the Era, and third one is Anjali North Kiara. So the transacted in this Tutamas area is about 1,072. The transacted for non-Tutamas is about 640. So if talking about Solaris Park, yeah, even though today the transacted in the Tutamas area is about 1,000, but the Solaris Park owners are looking towards to sell highest, where actually they are offering a higher per square foot. They're asking to sell is actually higher, so it's about 11% more than the transacted median in the Tutamas area, where they're actually looking. This is why we talk about investment, right? We wanted to make money, right? So of course, when the rental or the asking prices increases, this is how you make money lah. So if this owner A selling at 1,000, but if you are able to sell at like 1,050, you still making like 50 ringgit per square foot more than the previous owner, right? So this is how people make money. So we are actually looking for like the transacted itself in the area. So if you are looking for it to sell, this might be as a guideline for you lah. Okay, so we have RT and Agile Montera, which is actually selling slightly below the medians. RT is about 7, and also Agile is about 14. Okay, is for the pretender side, the median of transacted in non-Tutamas area is about 640. So for the Era and also the Anjali, they're actually asking to sell above the median lah. So the justification, I actually would say Anjali, the sizes of it is also quite big as well, and it's more towards for me it's more toward own stay lah. So of course they buying slightly more expensive towards others comparable. They I would say they can't really afford to sell lower or offer very low prices lah, because they're going to lose quite a number of money lah, because we talk about investment, right? Okay, so if I talk about the per square foot in Tutamas, Agile Montera is the one actually the asking price for now is the lowest lah. And for non-Tutamas, Concentro North Kiara. So if about below median, Agile Montera is 14% below the transacted median, and also Concentro is about 6.4% below the transacted median in the non-Tutamas area. So this is the summary that we have done for the investment point of view from the rental. If you wanted to opt for to rent out your units, this might be a guideline for you. And also if you want to sell, and what's the yield and the per square foot and the transacted, I think would be the real data lah, because asking is about the billing buyer and billing seller, but the transacted is actually being paid already. Okay, so this is the new summary that we've gotten for this area.
Guys, I can add a little bit more, and I think we can also bring Iheng here to share his POV as also an investor in the area, right? Guys, do you notice or not, guys? The rental price for a 1-bedroom in Solaris Park is actually more expensive than a rental rate for a 3-bedroom in Era, in Savio, even though they are just less than 10 minutes apart. So I think there are people asking, right? Where is this data coming from? These are data from asking prices, right? These are data from asking prices. You could argue that across the board, tolak 5% of the asking prices, and then you will get to your net price, right? So you can argue. You can say 10% for everything, but still, the variance of a 1-bedroom in proper Tutamas, right, versus a 3-bedroom in a non-proper Tutamas, just 5 minutes away, is just outstanding. So that's point number 1, right? So point number 2 here, remember I talked about new versus old? LB, what was the number of the one bedroom unit currently renting at Solaris Butamas? This fight is completely on top of the mall. You go downstairs in your pajamas. It's Publica already. How much is the price point for one bedroom rental today?
About 2003 on average.
Right? So you are comparing a 3,005 one bedroom in Solaris Park, which is new, versus 2003. So again, that reflects roughly about 20% premium, which is why when you buy super prime, you buy at the best address, you normally get the best rental. And I think when Sean bought in Monkera Prime, right, and a lot of people were wondering, right, at a 900 ringgit per square foot, are you an idiot to buy that property lah? And are we an idiot at Parkcap to go and buy something at 900 ringgit per square foot in Jalan Kiara? Okay. Now, obviously, what people do not know, because we had the data back then, that we are able to buy 900 ringgit per square foot because there was already a completed transaction in Akoris Monkera going for about 1,001. So we know we are buying at 20% below median. And on top of that, we believe that we had the better location because we had the mall downstairs. We also have a rooftop pool, which means our view is completely much better compared to Akri, right? So I think the experience of ownership, again, guys, in tier 1 area, when you buy the best property in tier 1, is very different, right? You cannot use local mentality because you are comparing, because you're not going to pay a 25 ringgit in a Selma, and a lot of people will be wondering, who the fuck rents for 3,005, right? Sean, how much do you rent your 1+1 bedroom at Oak?
5,000.
5,000. So guys, this is a proper tier 1. Again, this area, the money mentality is very different, right? You cannot comprehend it. I couldn't comprehend it until I see this area, right? And to me, it's just, at the end of the day, it's just very different when your earning power is that and people want to be associated with a certain level of lifestyle and people are willing to pay a premium. So again, when I say prioritize new versus old, right, there's a reason for it. The data is very, very clear, right? The data is very clear. Sean, did you took long to rent it?
It was before the renovation was complete.
So that means you're renting it undervalued lah.
Yeah, my go one more unit right now 5,005. Cilaka.
So there you go, right? So again, it's the same size, right? This is 1+1 bedroom, guys. This is not even 3 bedroom in this area. So again, new property will always have a premium versus old. When you buy a proper tier 1, and just because the tier 2 is nearby by 5 minutes, it doesn't mean shit.
Yep.
Right? Because it's completely different set of people. You cannot comprehend. Bloody hell, it's just 5 minutes away. Betul. But Bukit Bintang dengan Pudu pun 5 minit away, guys. Kampung Baru dengan KLCC pun 5 minit away.
Puchong dengan Bukit Jalil.
Right? Sorry? Puchong and Bukit Jalil lah. That one might be more than 5 minutes lah.
No lah.
Yeah, certain parts of Puchong, you're right. Right.
Yeah.
Right? So again, it's just a different word. You have to accept the fact that just because you're not going to pay it, doesn't mean that someone else is not going to pay for it. Does that make sense? Right? So which is why we always try to highlight, number one, you have to compare tier versus tier, and then new versus old. Those are the things that you need to understand before you buy new, because otherwise you can never comprehend. Until you do it, it's just incomprehensible to you that a 800 square foot 1+1 bedroom in Mount Kiara can be rented at 5,005 in less than a month after it was completed. Right? So again, so when people tell you 5 minit to Publica, it means nothing. Just make sure you pay a local price point. You don't pay international price point. Okay? Faham, guys? I'm not saying tier 2 areas are bad, no. No. Stop paying tier 1 at tier 2 price point. Stop pay tier 1 prices at tier 2 areas. That's the whole point of this. Just because it's 5 minutes away, it doesn't mean anything. Okay? And again, observe the premium of new versus old. Right? And when you look at it here, the rental and the selling price is both at about 40% premium for new versus old in tier 1. It's very high. But when you compare tier 2, if you look at the average sub-sale, all property in tier 2 is only 540 ringgit per square foot. Betul lah? This is 640 ringgit per square foot. It's only 100 ringgit per square foot difference. Okay, again, data don't lie. So you can argue about anything else, but for me, the data is the data, right? So the premium of tier 1 versus tier 2, all right, there's at least a 30 to 40% premium. Premium of new versus old, there's always, like I said, that's what I said. If you can find a new property selling at a 20% or less premium compared to the old property nearby, whack the new property. You see it now, guys, right? You see it now, right? This is proof. Data is data. Okay, LB, go ahead, continue.
So, okay, on the next slide, we have the multiple rental options that other than whole unit rental. A slide before, we have actually the room rental. So, when I trying to get data for room rental, actually I observe there's actually quite few listing in Dutamas area. Solaris is I would say the one with the most, but actually also the very few one, which is actually the Paprika. Okay, so the master is about 1,000. Artist master is about close to 1,001. But in those non-Dutamas area, like SEGAMBUT, North Kara, we can see more apartments actually offering for room rental. But I would say basically from this area, like you can observe from the whole unit rental itself, where we have Solaris Park, right? They also have 1 bedroom, or they have 2 or 3 bedroom, but the whole unit rental is so high that the investor don't have to do like a multiple rental options or like room rental to help to cover or to make positive cash flow, or to, or say, to decrease their bleeding lah, okay, on the multiple rental option. Because we talk about multiple rental option, is like if you can't go for like whole unit, what is the other option that you have, or the backup plan that you can think of this area. So this is the room rental data. On the next slide, we have the Airbnb. So we actually plotted plotted all the listing that's offered in the area on our Airbnb study lah. So we can see on our Dutamas area and also Montclair, you can see a lot of Airbnb operators actually listing their unit for Airbnb. But for North Kiara and also SEGAMBUT, we actually can see very few and minimum lah. So I can see actually a clear statement lah for like tier 2 area for like for SEGAMBUT and North Kiara. You have quite few options, especially for Airbnb lah. So because Airbnb's people talk about is purely investment. So right, so if you investor looking for it, this is why Dutamas or Montreal actually have for this tier 1 area have more opportunities or more options for them when you're going for multiple rental options. So this is for the MRO we plotted for the Dutamas and also the SEGAMBUT or the pretended area lah.
So guys, it's very important, LB did a wonderful job plotting this, right? So this is basically a heat map, right? It will tell you the demand of Airbnb. So it's a very expensive software that we subscribe to, all right? It's called Airbnb. It will tell you what is the average occupancy rate in the area, how much is the rental rate. It will even tell you which listing, which operator that is doing so well and which operator is doing terribly bad, basically. So it's that level of insight, right? So the conclusion here is that the Airbnb model or the short stay model is not going to work in the North Kiara, SEGAMBUT, Duta North area, right? The demand as of today, okay, has always been in the Dutama side. If you can look at it here, there's only a lot of high purple dots, right? So it's basically Mont Kiara and Dutama side. So if you can see here, the one Dutama top, I suspect the one looks like Arte lah. I think has got the highest number of Airbnb rental, right? So and then the one below that is basically Solaris Utama ataupun Publica lah. Right? I'm just spitballing there, right? But I think I'm correct there lah. These two are gonna be the property which have got the level of demand. right? So again, if you want to do Airbnb and all of that, you need a couple of things going for you lah. Location has to be good. Accessibility to go to commercial is good, right? Number one. Number two here is that it also needs to be quite unique lah, which in this particular case, RT is. So if you go back to tadi, if you go back to the chart that LB shared, what is interesting about RT here is that the long-term rental for RT is actually quite terrible, right? The rental room rate, right, for long-term rental for RT is only as low as 1,006 all the way to 2,000, right? Which to me is not great because majority of the people, right, majority of the people who are buying RT last time, they bought about 430,000 to about 450,000 minimum price point. So RT doesn't do very well on long-term rental, which again, if you have been following this particular conversation now in the last 2 hours, we all come to the same conclusion. RT somehow not so nice for long-term stay, but for Airbnb, it's quite unique, right? And their property, for example, if you look at Solaris Park, for example, the room rental is horrible, right? So the model for tier one, right? So what we discovered also in tier one, so this is a very important thing, right? For tier one area, room rental often don't do very well. Okay. Sean has got a 1+1 bedroom in Prime Mont Kiara lah. The room rental rate there, if you do room rental, maximum you can get 4,000. Today he's renting to one single tenant 5,000. So again, this is tier one. So again, tier one, for example, room rental, not so great. In tier two, room rental normally does a lot better than tier one. Okay, clear guys? So which is why when we explain, when you buy a property, you have to have multiple rental options that can get to break even, right? So for now, like I said, if you are talking about properties in Mont Kiara, if for example in Duta Mas, if you are looking at the proper tier one, the long-term rental seems to be better. Okay, in the case of Solaris Park, for RT, the long-term rental is not so great because, well, it's probably not as livable for long-term. People move out, right? So the room rental for Agile, for example, again, it's not going to be as an example, right? It's not going to be as great compared to, for example, the whole unit rental. So that's just typically what happens in tier one area. Okay, so I can potentially do the summary, Alvi, from here. Okay, so this is the summary of old versus new. So we take the asking price per square foot, right? And also the top table, if you look at it, is the price per square foot. The one below is rental from 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. Okay, this is very, very clear indication. So if you look at it here, in the older part of Duta Mas, right, the average transacted price point of median is about 818 ringgit per square foot, while the new one is 1072, which is why, like I said, if you can buy a new property at less than 20% premium versus old, and spec is the same, you always want to buy new. Clear, guys? If you look at even the pretender area pun sama juga, right? In tier 2, it's 538 versus 641, is still roughly about a 20% premium. So now you understand, when I say if you can buy new versus old at a 20% premium, you always buy new. Okay? Then, if you look at the price point of 1 bedroom, for example, of old Duta Mas versus the new one, so again, the premium is above 20%, the 2 bedroom is the same, the 3 bedroom is also the same. Okay? And when you look at it here, let's say, for example, if you were to compare a new, let's say 2 bedroom in Duta Mas, which today asking for about 4,200, versus the new 2 bedroom in the pretender is 2,003. Right? The new 2 bedroom in pretender is 2,003. So you can see here the difference between tier 1 versus tier 1 versus tier 2 and new versus old. Okay? So this is, I would say, the most important slide for tonight lah. for you to really understand what to look for when you are looking to buy these areas. Okay, so these are all median, guys. So again, guys, summary. If you nak beli all property in Dutama, try to pay below 800 ringgit per square foot. If for me, I will look at 700 ringgit per square foot and below. Okay, if you are looking to buy in the pretender area, is maximum 538 ringgit per square foot. That's the median as of today. But for me lah, if I'm looking to buy something in the Segambut side, I will not pay above 400 ringgit per square foot. I'm a bit more ruthless lah. So median can say 538, but I'm a bit of a cutthroat investor. I negotiate deals for a living. So if I were in that area, I would not pay above 400 ringgit per square foot. And I've actually made a bunch of offers to a bunch of developers with unsold inventory in the North Kiara side, Duta North side, at 400 ringgit per square foot and below. And obviously it was rejected lah for good reason. Okay? So far faham ke guys? This summary of new versus old, the Dutamas and the Pretender. Okay? So moving on to the next slide. Okay? So this is the summary of under construction, right? A property of new launch, right? In the area of Dutamas versus the area of the Pretender, right? So if you can see here, right? There's actually majority today of the new launch, right? Majority of the new launch, right, today in Dutamas are actually at below median. But just bear in mind, I don't think Mat 1 should be in the same category as Solaris Park, right? I would say it's one level below. Fielder Woods seems to be quite unique because it's going to be the first one with a proper nice rooftop pool in the whole Dutamas area. So I think it will be quite interesting product, but it's not cheap lah, at 915 ringgit per square foot. But it is still below median. It will still be below Solaris Park. Okay. Now, my favorite development in the Dutamas will be this thing called Solasta, right? Will be this thing called Solasta because it's the only one selling at below 800 ringgit per square foot. So even the most expensive unit in Solasta is at less than 750 ringgit per square foot. Okay. And then you got Dimersion, right? Which is right opposite of Publica, right? Which today asking for slightly below 1,000 ringgit per square foot, right? But 1,000 ringgit per square foot. And then you got the Segambut side, right? The North Kiara side, you got Miranda Hills, you got Alex. Those are going for 680, 700 ringgit per square foot. So again, you already know, right? What is the median? Siapa ingat tadi median of the Pretender? Siapa ingat tadi for new property kat Pretender? So it's 648 ringgit, guys, per square foot. So your Miranda Hills, your Alex as of today is selling at above median for new property. Then you got the Duta North, right? Which is your Tuan Legacy, Tuan Heritage Tree, right? These are largely, right, going for about 520 to 580 ringgit per square foot. Savio roughly about 660 ringgit per square foot. Era is the most expensive. Okay, Era is the most expensive. Okay, so this is the lowdown of the property. So you already know, right, what is the median of new properties in the Pretender side, which is 640 ringgit per square foot, right? And if you are talking about Dutamas, it's roughly about 1,000 ringgit per square foot as of today. So there's a bunch of property that we deem to be, you are actually buying at below median, yeah, compared to the current transacted price for new property. Okay, so for those who are asking, okay ke tak okay and apa semua tu, go back, right? Right? You can go back to this and then you can do a revision, right? Go back to this video, do a revision, and then you can decide. Okay. So that's the lowdown of the summary of new launch in the whole of Dutamas and the Pretender area. Do you guys think this is awesome or not? We work so hard to accumulate all of this data so that you can make an informed decision. How many of you enjoyed this video, guys? So again, I'm going to do a quick recap and summary, right, for tonight. Now, The rental difference between Dutamas and Dutamas Pretender, whether it's completed, whether it's new or old, is roughly works about above 30%. So that's the key difference, right? Which is why people pay a premium to buy something in a proper tier 1 area. Now, if you are looking to buy a property in Dutamas area for old property, try not to pay more than 700 ringgit per square foot with exception of Solaris Dutamas. Kenapa exception? Sebab it's on top of a mall. So when your property is on top of a successful mall, you command a premium. So which is why again, Iheng is very happy lah, right? Because he bought something on top of the latest hottest mall in the whole of Mont Kiara, right? And he bought it at 20% below median, right? So Iheng is a very happy guy, right? Menyesal ke beli 2 unit je, Iheng?
Tak cukup kidney, tak cukup ginjal.
Tak apalah. Anyway, I also regret only buying 4. So anyway, it's okay, it's fine. So we all have our regrets. Obviously, when we repeat during MCO, we are all cursing too lah. The rental wasn't as good lah, right? Today, rental is recovered. Then for old property in Dutamas area, right? For me, in the non-Dutamas area, right? You shouldn't pay above 550 ringgit per square foot. For Dutamas, room rental makes very little sense if you are paying above 700 ringgit per square foot. So dengar betul-betul lah guys. In the Dutamas side, if you are paying above 700 ringgit per square foot, don't need to consider doing room rental. If you are paying above 700 ringgit per square foot, yeah, you buy a decent property, just rent out the whole damn unit, you're going to get a lot more. Like I said, a 1-bedroom unit in Solaris Park is above 3,500. It's crazy shit in tier 1. Right? But it is what it is lah. Just because we don't understand it doesn't mean people are not going to pay for it. Okay? Then, if you are looking to do short-term rental and if people trying to sell you short-term rental bullshit in non-proper Dutamas area, so you know now already it's a bullshit statement lah guys. So it's not, you know it's not going to work. It's very unlikely to work lah. Right? You could have only 1 unit saja, that only 1 unit do it, then okay lah, you've got an exception. Okay? But as a general rule, it doesn't work. So this is a summary insight for the areas as of today, if you are looking to buy something. Now, from a new property point of view, right? New property point of view, right? There's only 2 properties today that is selling, new properties today, which is basically selling at below median, right? Below median, right? As of today. On the Dutama side, Solastar is the only one selling below median, properly below median. And while Tuan is also one of the property which is selling at 5 to 10% below median, Solastar is about 20% below median. Okay? So that's insight number 1. Insight number 2 here is that the Dutamas North Kiara side, very hard to penetrate the sub 650 ringgit per square foot, right? While the Dutama side has easily done above 1,000 ringgit per square foot. And I think of all the properties that we are looking at as of today, we think that you can already see, right? Abi, what was the rental for 2-bedroom in the Dutama side as of today? Average is above 3,000 ringgit per month as of today, right? So Solastar, it seems to us, is going to be the only property of all the properties that we have been discussing today that will be able to give you above 6% rental yield. So not only give you break-even rental, will most likely give you positive cash flow. And because Solastar is also located in Dutama side, so you're going to have access to 3 rental strategy, which is whole unit rental should break even. Room rental also will break even if you buy below 7 ringgit per square foot. And if you're looking to do Airbnb, most likely also this is viable because as you can see from the heat map, Dutama's demand for short-term rental seems to be quite there. Okay, so that's basically the verdict and the insight for tonight lah. So for all the new under construction property, this is our view from an investment point of view. Okay. Next, I see a lot of people have got a lot of questions already. Don't worry guys, so we're going to answer the questions. So, but please put it in Q&A, jangan letak bagian chat. Okay. Now, for those who do not know, Far Capital does a bulk purchase, we buy undervalued property. And we have exposure in 2 developments in the Dutamas area. We have 0 exposure in the non-Dutamas area, right? To be honest. So again, full disclosure, I don't want people to go and say, these guys are making this video for whatever reason, right? So we give you the full disclosure and you don't have to gossip. So we very direct one, right? So we bought only two property. Okay. If you move on to the next slide, right? We've actually bought Solasta. We also bought the Immersion, right? So there's only two properties that we are buying in these two areas. So I can also reveal that our price point today, that when we buy, we bought the first block of Solasta, and as of today, only Far Capital clients is able to buy the first block of Solasta, and we didn't buy this at 750 per square foot. We buy this at below 650 ringgit per square foot, right? So we're not buying at 20% below median. We're buying at about 40% below median for Solasta. Number one, that's number one. Number two, for the immersion, right? The immersion, right? We bought the immersion too. We basically sapu all the tri-key and dual key units, whereby the price for a studio unit is below 350,000, right? So why do we buy those? Very straightforward. You've already looked at the median as of today. The studio or one bedroom in this area is roughly about 450,000 to about 500,000 ringgit. So when you buy 350 per studio, you buy the completely different below market. You also already see your worst rental as of today is 1,006 in RT, right? For the studio unit. At 350,000, you get a pretty decent rental yield. So again, this is how we use 7 criteria to arrive at what property to buy, to arrive at what price point to buy. And we've got a little bit of an unfair advantage versus the public. Yeah. So guys, full disclosure, that's basically the full presentation for tonight. I hope you've enjoyed what we have put at. I guess our next webinar is going to be next Sunday. And for those who are interested to become a client, right, to buy property with unfair advantage, right? Unfair advantage, you want to buy, for example, Solasta below 650 ringgit per square foot, right? You want to buy studio unit in proper tier 1 at 350,000 per unit and below. Explore joining our webinar next weekend and then decide whether becoming a client is going to be something that makes sense for you. Okay? So with that, I think we can move to the Q&A.
All right. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, please put in the Q&A so I can see a lot of questions in the chat. I apologize, we cannot catch all the questions, so it's a bit hard for us to read the questions live here.
Hey,
Now,
by the way, guys, the Q&A is the most valuable part because that's when you get the real insight, right? So yeah. But I think it's only for the chosen one since it's already 2.5 hours, right? So only the chosen one have got the seminar to last. So I'm it's no shame for bowing out now, right? It has been 2.5 hours, but I think this is where the real knowledge and golden nugget begins. So take it away, Christina.
okay, so actually there are a lot of questions about YNH.
Sure.
I think I'm just going to read one question that represent all of the questions. This is coming from Sean Leong. Hello everyone, good evening. Refer to the latest news of YNH. On your own opinion, will the developer abandon the Solasta to Thomas project? Does it consider as a high risk project? If you don't mind to explain on how HDA works for the buyers, and also saying that there's a view that the Solasta is slowing down in terms of the progressions. Okay.
I don't know about slowing down in terms of the progression. I think from a construction point of view, it's actually quite fast. So I give you a simple rule, I guess. Whatever happens to the main company has got very little to do with the project, thanks to this thing called the HDA clause. So basically, whatever property that you buy, the money is not disbursed to the directors or the founder pocket. It goes to the HDA account, which is being used to construct the property. So gone are the days whereby developer can siphon money from one project and then go and build another project. So, which is why as of today, you rarely see project which is being delayed or abandoned. So there's only one reason only whereby a project goes delayed or abandoned, right? And that one reason is that when the project did not hit a minimum 70% sales status. because that simply means, guys, if you don't hit minimum 70% sales status, okay, the money generated from the bank disbursement is not going to be enough to cover construction costs. Sean, do you have a different view on this?
The same.
Yep.
The same.
So 70% or higher, right? So as of today, I don't know what's the full status of Solaris sales, but I think it's already around 70%, which is why you can see today construction is actually quite fast, right? So I think Block C is already 85% being sold. Block B, I think it's almost fully sold, right? So now Block A is the one. So Block A is 300 units. So if they sell Block C, Block B, they've already completed 70% of the sales meters. So that's point number one, right? So now then let's go to the real question. Does OneH has got cash problem or not? Because I think that's really the question you're asking lah. Betul ke tak betul, guys? Right? So again, we don't fucking beat around the bush, right? So we just answer it directly. Now, I believe they do have cash flow challenges. Their cash flow is very tight, which is why they were subject to this particular attack in the first quarter of the year that caused the share price to tank greatly, right? If they've got money, they can defend their stock. Very simple. They can't defend their stock because they're basically out of ammo. Okay? So now, does that worry me? The answer is that I'm not worried because for me, it's very simple. Okay? If the developer has got nothing else to sell in order to raise money to complete the project, then the project, senang cerita, is royally screwed lah. Fair, guys? But if you look at their balance sheet, okay, they've got roughly about 2.5 to 3 billion worth of land bank versus roughly about R1 billion in debt. Okay, so senang cerita, they are one of the largest land bank owners in the whole Hartamas Mont Kiara Dutama site, by the way. They got more than 5 pieces of land. Okay, I know the mall is ongoing sales. I know they are selling the Manjung one. The Mont Kiara one, they already found a buyer. They are doing a due diligence. And the buyer, the moment it happens, Sean, you're going to be very happy because they are one of the, I mean, you know lah who, right? So
Now, my friend is buying it.
There you go, right? So they are one of the most successful mall operators in the country, right? And I can tell you, they get a really good deal because they are buying the mall at a price point which is cheaper compared to a cost for them to build the mall. But when you are a beggar, you cannot be a chooser lah. When you are desperate, you sell. So the good thing about OneH is that their land bank is worth quite a fair bit of money. They've got, like I said, easily 5 more land bank in the whole Mont Kiara Hartamas. Hartamas alone, I think they still have 3. Just Hartamas alone, 3 Hartamas alone, right? Dutama side, if I recall correctly, they've got 4 or 5. Okay, just Dutama side, right? Bukit Nenas, KLCC, Genting one for me, don't need to discuss, right? So Genting one probably for me is the one which is the one which I am least favored lah. So long story short, for them to complete a project like Solaris, they just have to sell one land. That's it, right? Out of 8 very valuable land banks that there, they only have to sell one. It's actually enough to complete the project. And the moment the sale of that one land and 2 malls, which is currently ongoing, being concluded, they should be able to raise about 500 to 600 million. So, do I think they have problem completing the project? No. Based on this information, I don't. Okay.
And that is based on worst case scenario where sales today stop.
Exactly.
So it like whatever Faizul just explained, right? Like, okay, for those who have no clue on what's the progress, right? I think you can look into the latest Tuan 3 heritage video on YouTube that I made. I kind of fly past for personal reasons and interest when I do review. I know where my unit is. Next to the highway. So if you look into Tower C, okay, whatever balance sheet, if I don't understand, right? If you look into the progress on site, you look into the trucks, look into construction people on site, it's moving. So that's always a good sign. I don't want to use, I use kampong way to find out whether the site got people or not.
Right. So long story short, to answer, do they have cash flow challenges? Yes. I can say the same for about 50% of the developer in the country as of today. Right? So everyone has got similar challenges when it comes to cash flow as of today. Do I think that they can sell above 70%? Absolutely. I think they've already crossed the 70% mark. Number two here, as I said, do they have assets? So here's the other thing, right, guys? For a developer, guys, for those who do not know, this is what is happening in the country as of today. If you're a developer A, right, and then, for example, your project abandoned, guys, your name as a director of the developer will forever be blacklisted, no, from being a developer ever again, no. You guys understand? If I have 10 land banks, it's going to be an idiot thing for me to not sell one land to complete my project rather than getting my 8-9 land banks. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? In order for me to continue to develop, I cannot be stuck. I cannot be blacklisted. Right? So for those who do not know, if you have a project which is abandoned, okay, you are blacklisted. So you can't just simply open a different company and all of that. So now, I don't know in detail what did the founder do. As of today, these are allegations. I'm not going to comment whether it's true or tidak because I'm not there. I have no idea. This is the game of the corporate world. There's a lot of people being accused of doing a lot of things. I have been accused of doing a lot of things. Sean has been accused of doing a lot of things too. LB has been accused of doing a lot of things too. Like mengecam orang-orang SEGAMBUT, for example, tonight. So again, no, we all have been accused of doing something. So for me, until, these things are settled in court and whatever, and they are suing, right? So if they win and the guy goes to jail, so be it lah. You pay for the sins of your crime. Doesn't, they get exonerated. It's as simple as that. Now, is there a risk towards the property development itself? For me, not really.
Yeah.
So I give you an honest answer, right? I'm not telling you their finance is steady or whatnot. Yeah, I do think they have cash flow challenges. Right? I do know they have cash flow challenges. Right? But they've never had an abandoned project. I think there's 1 or 2 projects that got delayed. Right? Largely because of MCO more than anything else. But other than that, like I said, from a land bank point of view, they have a lot of land bank. And the GDP and their land bank is actually above 10 billion. So it's pretty strong.
There's another one is coming from Ashraf. Hi, Faizul. Solar Star nearby graveyard and high tension cable. Don't you think it will affect the investment?
If you the argument of high tension cable is a non-starter because Icon Monkera also opposite of high tension cable. Solaris Dutamas also got high tension cable. The whole of Publica has got high tension cable. RT Monkera pun ada high tension cable. Solaris Park also has got high tension cable. Right? So everything under Perseran Dutamas has got high tension cable. Okay? Hasn't affected property value. Solaris Dutamas went from 500 ringgit per square foot to at peak 1,001. Today it's about 800 ringgit per square foot. People still make money. So high tension cable, like I say, is a non-argument. Graveyard is nearby. You are correct, right? Which is why it's selling at about 20% cheaper than median, right? My unit last time at Tropics, right, was facing an Indian graveyard in Damansara Jaya. Didn't stop it from going to about 1,000 ringgit per square foot on subsale. Right? So are you familiar with TTDI? Is there a graveyard in TTDI, guys? Right? Is there a luxury condo located next to MRT and graveyard TTDI? Right? That project is, cheap only, guys. Last time selling at 1,000, 200 ringgit per square foot only. Next to a big ass graveyard. Right? So, you got the one in Bangsa too, which is also next to the graveyard, trading above 1,000 ringgit per square foot. My summer suit features graveyard in KLCC, also 1,000 per square foot. I think there's a bunch of condo orang Kampung Baru, Setia Sky, also facing graveyard above 1,000 per square foot. So, I think, put it this way, my view is this. If Solar Star is selling at 900 ringgit per square foot, I will tell you to go buy Solaris Park or Exim. because they got no graveyard and 900 plus ringgit per square foot, right? But it's not. So you get a discount. And one of the main reasons selling at below median because of that. Okay, so you are getting a proper discount because of that. So for me, I am confident. So far, my experience in tier 1 area, people don't care about graveyard. So far, right? That's my experience in tier 1 area. Bangsa, doesn't really matter. KLCC doesn't really matter, right? People just don't really care. Maybe because the people's renting Korean, Japanese, Angmo, right? So for example, if it's next to a Indian graveyard, maybe the hantu cakap India dia tak faham kot. So no problem lah. Right? Or hantu tu cakap Melayu dia pun tak faham kot. So no problem lah. Right? So, some people might argue that staying in front of a mosque is worse than staying next to a graveyard. Right? There's residual voice that will come from the mosque, but there's no voice that should come out from the graveyard. If the graveyard makes noise, it is a problem. Right? So now, jokes aside, like I said, factually speaking, there's already more than 10 condos in the KLCC, Bangsa, TTDI area, all traded above 1,000 per square foot, and it's located next to a graveyard. Right? And today, you're not paying graveyard, you're not paying a non-graveyard discount. So you are getting at a proper discount. So the other thing that I didn't mention tonight here is that we've always done quite well becoming the poorest person in a rich man's area. Right? We have always done very well doing that, right? So we bought in Jalan Kiarawan, it was the cheapest one in Jalan Kiarawan at that point of time, right? It was cheaper than Tapin, right? It was cheaper than Signature, opposite, it was cheaper than Akori. So we bought it, did very well, right? So when we go to Maluri, it's the same thing, right? We buy the cheapest there, right? We go to Cochrane, we also do the same thing, we buy the cheapest there. And so far, that strategy has never failed us. So in the area of Lutamas, an average 2-bedroom there, if you look at it from a rental point of view, it's about 3,000. So we know buying at 400,000, we should make money from rental. There's no question, right? Question is how much capital gain, right? But if you look at the average 2-bedroom today, so I'm not using Solaris Park as an example, but if Solaris Park today is going for about 1 million, I don't think it's too much to ask for 650 to 700,000 for a 2-bedroom, again, in proper Lutamas. Right? So yeah. That would be my take on the graveyard bit.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, Sean. You are awesome. So I see people who are just as hungry for data and facts just like us. Right? So Sean, you don't work for FACAP, right, Sean? So, you just better clarify, right? So, people think, this guy spy, we planted him, right? So there you go. So over 70%.
How you find,
I think he went to check out. He went to check out the unit, I think.
Went to sale.
Wow.
Okay.
Nothing to do.
I think your number is a little bit off, Sean. I think as of this week, there's no more Block C. So Block C no more already.
All right. Okay. So this is question from James, asking you about developer. Tapi saya nak cover different question first, boleh? This is actually a group. Everyone has been asking. What do you think about Tuan residents for investment? So a lot of questions ada because berkenaan dengan Tuan residents.
I think it's the second best thing you can buy lah. Based on tonight's, data point, it's going for about 5 to 10% below median, right? So it's the second best thing that you can buy. And you are, let's say for example, let's compare, right? Versus let's say Solasta. Let's do the head-to-head comparison, right? Solasta, if you buy a certain block, you're buying at 30 to 40% below median. Tuan is about 10%, right? So that's one. Number two, here is that the SEGAMBUT side is not friendly towards the Airbnb or short stay rental option, right? So that means you've got two rental options, which is long-term rental, 4-unit rental, or you do room rental. So these are the only two. And if you look at the average room rental rate, I think dekat the area tu, which you roughly get about what, 600-700 ringgit LB, right? As of today, you come to somewhat break-even price point lah. So it's not bad. It's pretty, it's safe lah for you to buy lah. But it's also nothing spectacular, right? Solastar, on the other hand, has got 3 rental options. We think that at certain rental options, in majority of the rental option, your positive cash flow will be above 4 figures. Right? So Tuan is okay, it's safe. As you know already, what's the median in the area is selling not too far away from the median, so it's okay, not too far away. Although from a location point of view, to be honest, it's probably on the worst part of what we discussed tonight. Right? It's really like north. So from the north of I think is it north Dutan North, right? LB, is it Dutan North or North Kiara? Tuan side.
It's North Kiara side.
Dutan North, right?
Yeah, Tuan 3 is actually towards the North Kiara. If 2 is actually at the Jalan Kuching. The 2.
Okay. So basically, of all the things in North, Dutan North is the north, the furthest, the paling jauh lah, basically, right? So it's also separated by that road, which requires you to do a little bit of a U-turn if you want to go to public car and apa semua tu. Right? So from a location point of view, there's a reason why it's cheap lah. It's the least favorable. So Savio, in my opinion, has got a better location. Right? Savio, in my opinion, has got a better location. Right? So again, this is not dissing Tuan or anything. I'm just stating the facts. Right? So go and compare, do your drive, right, from there to go to public car, and then you go and compare. You go from Savio, and then you go from Tuan. Right? And then you can understand why is there a discount. But cheap. Right?
But Simon
It's
here
cheap.
say that road super jam and noisy. Which jam
I mean,
now in KL not super jam and noisy?
Yalah. Jalan Kiara 1 jam, Jalan Kiara 3 pun jam. You know,
everywhere also jam.
Tamas pun jam. So apa je yang tak jam, bro? So yang tu lah. So for me, jam is not really a unless the jam is like horrible to the point you can be stuck for 2-3 hours. Right? So yeah. But jam is
If no jam, I did not buy leh.
that's true.
Like sebenarnya no
true.
jam.
That's true.
Almost jam already, FYI.
So which is why we like to buy nearby MRT, right? So and the other big plus for Solastar is walkable to MRT 3 lah. And the whole Dutamas is lah basically, right? It's walkable to MRT 3. So whenever that happens then, right? That happens then, we make even more money. Doesn't happen, we still make pretty decent money.
So I think my take on Tuan and Solastar, it's within the same below median range, but just at a different budget range. So I think Tuan is at 500 over 1,000. This one, Solastar, is about 600-700 over 1,000. That extra 100 over 1,000, your income is about 800 per more or 1,000 more a month. So if you can make it to Solastar, then okay. But if cannot along that road, I think Tuan seems to be the better one. But a lot of other choices also like Savio, the Era, and things like that. So, but that road, you gotta really go and drive and see. You gotta really it's crazy. Like in front, you got the forklift service center. Then you got the Rumah Kampung next to it. Then it's in between schools. You gotta know what you're buying lah.
Nothing beats driving there. And don't drive there on weekends. You're not gonna learn anything about the area driving there on weekends. Right? So you gotta drive there during proper working day, maybe during lunchtime. Go and have a visit, and then you see. Right? So for us, we like MRT. We like things which is accessible. We like things that is walkable to malls. For those reasons.
Cool.
All right, so there's a questions. What is your view towards RT and Azim developer?
Sean, you want to take this first?
Axim is awesome lah. Now, and they are ultra aggressive. I think they kind of slowed down a little bit when they took the Mutiara Damansara side, Damansara Central side, now they call. Because that side, the amount of cash required is massive. They're undertaking the abandoned mall kind of setting. They really are putting in a lot of effort. But once they have cleared that site, in Bukit Jalil, they are launching like 6 more towers. Then you have the other side called KLCC. You have all the smaller units, Airbnb ones. Then you can see they are going to Johor, Jalan Kebun Teh. Then you can see they are going everywhere. And because they have a perfect sales model where they have the agency selling for them. But just be very mindful when agents of theirs are telling you that they are invested also, because they got home bonuses. When you sell more than a few units, you get home bonuses to buy their own project at a discount, a very massive discount. Because they also realize that the best sales pitch is also the sales agent got buy. So intelligent. So in terms of product design wise, they are very genuine. They are very, very professional in their detailings and everything. They are not playing a fool lah. Then the other one, what's the other developer
Arte.
again? Oh, Arte is the one that is very smart. They are really unconventional, because the conventional one is like SP Setia, EcoWorld, Sunway, Samdabi, Tropicana. That one I can draw out their layout for you and don't need to even imagine, right? But RT one is very different. That's why when they want to launch something new, I don't even know how it would look like. But if you tell me UEM launch new project, I can agak-agak like that lah. So it's a very different approach. But artists' intention for design again is very different. It's all short-term, extravagant, art nouveau kind of orientation. Normal people wouldn't like. You stay there every day, you will, right? But every now and then, like a lot of KL folks go and stay Arte Mont Kiara for a night. Girls' nights out, boys' nights out, they will all go Mont Kiara. Like we come here every day, still want to go there. So that's the two different private kind of developers. And I like that they stay in this format of not public listed. They have a lot of leeway to play about, because when you go public listing, like 1AH like that, actually you got a lot more trouble.
My view, but again, disclaimer, I haven't bought anything from them, right? So I haven't bought anything from them. Both are pretty ambitious, young, quite smart developer, and they are smart in different ways, right? That's my take lah. Arte has got a slight disadvantage for me. If I were to, I will put Exim at a greater position, largely due to one reason only. I have a very unique way of assessing which property developer is good, because to me, a property developer is only good when the property makes money for me. Right? So I'm a very hardcore number result driven, right? I don't care about the quality of the property as long as the property makes money for me. Right? So for me, a developer, let's say for example, like Milan, right? Which is horrible for a lot of people, right? Still horrible to me too, right? But it's a good developer for me because I actually bought a bunch of their product and actually made money. I made more than 3 million buying their product. So and you can argue about the workmanship, not so great and whatnot, but did I make money? Did I get more than 10% rental? I did. So they did a couple of right things, right? Which today our developer copied, which is fine, right? So I haven't bought both of them. So, but I think from a track record of being able to help buyers maintain value of the property, then I think Exim has got an advantage compared to RT. So, and the reason here is because I think RT got hit by a group of
Yeah.
speculator scammer, right? So, which causes a lot of their property to be hit by NPL. So it's a bit unfortunate lah. I mean, the owners, I don't think, to be honest, they were badly hit by it. To the point they got somewhat blacklisted by banks. But they've taken remedy to got out from the blacklist. So that's just some history. So they got very unfortunate. But because of the auction, the name of RT on the secondary development is not great. So you know what I mean, right? So they got hit by 3 developments, right? The one in Penang, the one in Ampang, and even Mont Kiara. So Mont Kiara, they actually took remedy, right? So basically, the scam was a bunch of people coordinated. Basically, the same unit is being sold to multiple buyers, and the bank disbursed money because there are parties within the developer, admin staff and apa semua tu berpakat tau. So they actually disbursed berpuluh juta ringgit to a phantom account and phantom buyer. And by the time they realized it's too late. So there was no real buyer. So it's like Iheng put nama Faizul Ridzuan, suddenly go buy unit, right? And bank disburse money. So they lost the scam, I think, was above 50 million ringgit value. So it was a lot of money. So, and it was hit by multiple developments. So the same guys buying multiple developments, and it was a lot. So it's a little bit unfortunate for them to kind of hit that way. It's just their luck lah. And as a result, their reputation has still suffered because there's a lot of lelong. Right? So that's that lah. Other than that, I guess for tier 1 areas, their product doesn't make much of a difference. It doesn't. People in tier 1 don't care about the uniqueness of the facade and whatnot lah. They look at the practicality of things and the quality of the build, right? But in tier 2, they seem to be doing quite well.
But something interesting like you just shared just now, I think the first thing is workmanship has very little correlation to rental price and capital appreciation. I think that is something a lot of people very hard to understand.
Correct.
So like, poor here leaking lah, here cracking lah, actually don't care one. Then the second one, it's when we think that Arte as a developer is doing terrible because of the sub-sale market, but most of their projects are sold out. So if we judge based on their report card, they are doing awesome. But it's just that dealt the bad hand.
Yeah.
Dealt the bad hand. Yeah, I think people need to understand and separate the issues all together. It's not one same issue. But unfortunately, most of us can buy one house only. That's why it becomes very sticky.
So again, it depends on your goal lah. If my objective is to make money, any developer that makes money for me is a good developer. So I don't buy from top tier developers like Sime or Eco or Gamuda, which I recognize as good developer.
Solid one,
solid, right? Township builder, above average quality and all of that, because the product is premiumly priced. Confirm sell above median one. So already gagal my criteria. Right? So my 7 criteria first, median. You langgar tu, no need to talk already.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're selling at 20-30% above median. So because
they set the new median.
Correct. They are the setter of new median.
Yeah.
So I just convinced a smaller developer to go build something 30% cheaper and buy that. With Gamuda selling at 1,000 per square foot, so we're going to make money by 700, right? So we prefer to do that because our objective is very clear. Our objective is to make money, right? So from that point of view, I will rate Exim slightly better, simply because from a sub-sale point of view, I think Exim projects is doing better compared to RT. I think rental, neither is spectacular. Other than, for example, if you do RT for Airbnb lah.
Some tips for those who are buying Exim one, there are 2 series. One is the D series, one is the Z series. The D Cosmos, D whatever, DDD is the lower spec. is the courtyard of Marriott. The Z's are the Marriott. So there will be differences in specifications, and they will argue about internally on the design specification. Hey, this is what series, what kind of finishes. Just a tip lah. I know Faizul don't care, but
I do care. If I can buy Z series at the price point of D series, I will buy it from Exima. So, it's all about price point to me. And there's a comment here, right? I think from Ray check up. Gamuda can group buy also. I bought more before 30% BNP. Guys, I speak to Gamuda every 3 months on different projects all over the country, from KK to Johor to Selangor. A 30% discount is not enough for Phuket clients. The phrase statement, tuas, it's not good enough for Phuket clients. For majority of Gamuda project, I need 50% discount. That's how ruthless I am. If 30% discount can settle, we'll buy Gamuda. But unfortunately for Gamuda, some of their projects, even and after 30% discount, it is still 20% above median. Betul tak, LB? So we eat this for breakfast. So, they are friends. We go for tea. They just invited me for nice coffee and tea and donuts a couple of months ago, helping me to go and help our inventory, and they're willing to give 30% discount. But at 30% discount, it's still 20% above median. I tell them I need 50. I'm sorry. I cannot buy above median. That's reputation of Phuket. We buy below median. We don't buy above median. Okay, unfortunately lah. So yeah, I understand. There are groups that are buying at 30% discount, but at least for a developer like Gamuda, 30% discount no good enough, bro. Tak boleh. Masih melanggar median. So again, yeah, no, different. So I know I went to a speaking engagement in Radar recently, right? So one developer even made this statement, no? When they see another one of his friends talking to me, bro, if you are talking to Faizul, you are in deep shit, bro.
I was there.
So he's
I prove
literally
this, I
making the
also there.
statement. Yeah. He was making the statement, shit, if you are talking to Phuket, you are in deep shit. Right? So because he spoke to me before and he wanted to give me a 30% discount, I told him it's not enough. I need 50, boss. Right? So yeah. So that's just the reputation that I have. So but unfortunately that's just a part and parcel of the job lah. Right? So if I have to be hated by a couple of people, I don't mind, as long as we get to buy a really, really, really below market price point. We get to buy below median. Buyers are happy. I don't mind being hated by a few guys. Okay?
Yeah, just to share with everyone, it's 1 o'clock.
Oh,
I don't know
and still
whether you guys
300
are aware
people
or not.
in Zoom. You guys are awesome, I
There's
guess.
300 people in the Zoom.
hey, why don't
and
thank
we
me?
have-
Wait, I guess also.
Hey, guess awesome, I guess.
Ayo, lupa lah.
I'm in your
You
office,
can do the study.
Here's the best part.
We didn't even pay him, guys. So contrary, this guy cannot be paid. A lot of people seem to think that this guy just drone shot, get invited because he's paid. No, he cannot be paid. If you are shit, he's not going to deal with you. Very simple, right? Sean, has got one of the highest integrity in the industry, and that's the reason why he became so successful, right? So he's just doing it because he thought it was fun after looking at our Maluri Battle Royale, and I think is a area that he likes, who close to heart. He has done a bunch of drone shooting, so he can add a lot of value. And I think you guys got a lot of value, right, from his sharing today. His sharing is truly unique.
Yep.
But hey, can we give him a round of applause?
Yeah.
I need some love, guys. Come on,
Love.
guys. Come on.
Come on, not just a clap.
I used to wake up at 3, now it's 1. Gone.
Right. Hey, got
Okay,
people asking you, how many units in Dutama, Sehan? So you want to reveal that?
I tell, the official answer is,
Official answer.
my last 3 purchase is from Farcap.
Yeah.
So the rest that is not with Farcap are from developers who don't like Faizul. Yeah, so I don't really cite each one. So who gives me the best price, I take lah.
Right on, right?
Mm.
LB is very tired because she's been doing the slides for you all since 10 o'clock in the morning. Already kena marah a couple of times edit, right? So she hasn't been she hasn't been sleeping well. And we have 3 people in research team. The 2 men down with sickness. So our boys in FACAP is pretty weak lah.
Yeah,
Only
woman power.
the last woman standing. I told LB lah, I give you 2 days off, right? Because of this suffering lah. So yeah. So please give LB a round of applause lah. She is very very tired, right? Really I think she did a wonderful job just putting this on her own. No one back up lah. Wow, suddenly got a lot of love light
Yeah,
for LB. Yeah.
You
That
see,
is
wow, you see
pretty
got pretty
normal
face.
lah.
This is the reaction one. Walao,
yeah.
yo.
So
Okay,
you see,
okay.
that's why agency that use pretty girls to go and sell property tend to do better than agency that uses guys to go and sell property.
Oh
I
my
don't know, anyone in the rent industry, do you disagree with me on this statement?
Yeah, I'll be more
Okay.
love like. What the hell?
Yeah lah.
I worked so long.
Okay, on a side note,
How many more questions we are going to do?
yeah, that's the thing. I'm just going to jump into that. We have a lot more questions over here, and I apologize to all of you if we did not.
Let's take 5.
To answer.
Let's
all
take
the
5,
questions.
right? So
Oh.
let's take 5 more. Apologies, guys. It's the first time that we couldn't answer all. But let's take the 5 most important ones.
So
And the
that's
fact
case,
that we exclude anything which is this one a good buy? Because I think we've already covered that. Median and above, bad buy, median and below, good buy lor. Susah ke nak faham guys? Summary of 3-hour presentation.
So the first one is from Arthur. Where does the tiering starts? And then there's another one. How do you define, measure, quantify each tiers? What are the definition for? I think we said that. But how do you define, measure, and quantify? Is it Subang is tier? What is Subang tier? And then how do differentiate tier 1 and tier 2? So basically tier lah.
Like I said, tier 1, right, has no limit in terms of rental price. Say tier 1, tier 2, for example, harga lebih kurang sama je if you want to buy subsale. TTDI is more expensive than Mount Kiara. But there's a limit of rental in TTDI. There's also going to be a limit of rental on Subang. So Subang is a proper upper tier 2, right? So in Subang, for example, you see a lot of foreigners, but your foreigners are not working foreigners, are not your professional expats. These are foreign students. Betul ke tak betul? Again, there's a limit in terms of rental. So who sets the limit? Not me. It's the income of the people. So you will notice that the income of the people in tier 1 is greater compared to the income of people in tier 2. And the income of people in tier 2 will always be greater compared to the income of people in tier 3, which is why people can pay higher rental in tier 1. You cannot have a 5,000 income and pay rental of 6,000 in Mount Kiara. Cannot. At 5,000, the best you can do is tier 2 like Sento. Right? So that's just the reality. So it's not I said. Look at the property price, look at the rental price, look at the food price point, look at the dynamic of the population. So tier 1 normally mixed race. There's no such thing as ini kawasan Cina, ini kawasan Melayu, itu kawasan India. No such thing in tier 1. Tier 2 saja ada. Any area which is predominantly single race is a tier 2 and below. Clear? Tier 1 international. Because money does not have race or religion. Money is money. Everyone with money recognize somebody else with money. It doesn't matter how you look. It's as simple as that. Okay? So I don't make this shit up. It's just how human at the end of the day congregate. Pernah dengar tak? Bird of the same feathers flock together. Okay? So that's just tier lah. What was the next question? Yes?
Well, what Subang is which tier?
2. Already answered. So any landed property you can buy at 500,000 and below is tier 3. Subang don't have landed property below 500,000. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay? Anything average landed property price point, single story, double story, above 500,000 is already tier 2. So many of the areas that you're asking me is all tier 2 one.
Okay, question. Question,
Sure, sure.
Okay. Can it evolve like tier 2 to
Can.
tier 1?
Yeah, I was about to ask
Can.
that question.
Can. That's what happened to Kerinci,
Yep. I was going to go.
right? That's what happened to Kerinci, right? So Kerinci evolved from a bottom tier 2 to become a tier 1. Okay? So today become Bangsa South. See, by calling it a different name. But it's not just a different name. So unlike your North Kiara and whatnot, the area was completely transformed because of the commercial ability. What happened to Bangsa South was job. They just decided to put a lot of high value jobs that was driving a lot of property value and rental value. Last time Kerinci mana ada sewa lebih 2,500, right? It's jobs, high value jobs, high income, high rental, high property price. It's not complicated, guys. Property market is always about job, then income, then translate to rental, then translate to property price. If you can predict this thing, you can predict the next property market. Okay? Now, the only exception to this rule, which is also what we call tier jumpers, right? So it's jumper. Last time tier 3 jadi tier 2. Tier 2 become tier 1. The only exception to this rule, if you ask me, was actually Desa Park City. Went from tier 2, bottom tier 2, Jinjang Kepong side, right? The unwanted side of Kepong some more, right? To become tier 1. Completely out of nowhere, there's no job being created. But they created a township which is completely unique. If you wanted something gated and guarded safe with the whole commercial area, that was the only choice. Right? Setia Alam went from tier 3 to become tier 2. Why? Highway accessibility more. Right? Majority part of Kelang is still tier 3, but Setia Alam, the place that even Klang people say Ulu before the highway open lah kan. Betul lah? Because you have to go through Klang, right? You have to go through Setia Alam those days, right? But no one wants to stay in Setia Alam. And today it's a tier 2. Does that make sense? Right?
I call them the unicorn of the real estate actually.
Yeah. So you can have jumpers, correct? You can have jumpers. Right? So for landed property development, it's not so difficult to jump because as you build township and you build more expensive property can only be afforded by people with certain income. So naturally, you're going to get upgrades within the area. Does that make sense? Right? Because when I was looking at Desa Park City in 2009, a bunch of my mentors, no one can understand Desa Park City. Who the fuck wants to pay 800 ringgit per month on maintenance fee on landed property? It was unheard of. You know, I saw Xenia at 690,000.
Holy shit.
2.5 story. I went and have a look at it. And you know, at that point of time, LE pun tak lepas lah kan. So, but tengok-tengok lah because my mentor semua tengok. All my mentor come to the conclusion, better buy condo. All of us were idiots. We were behind on the future trend. Today, all township developer, all will try to do their best to copy the Desa Park City.
Yep.
But their second, third, train, to the dance. So basically, it's slow, right? So yes, that's the definition of tier, and you can have tier jumpers as the people who stayed there come in with a completely different mentality. You can.
So I think from the audience point of view, I think he will be referring to SJCC. So the old Paksan area, not old Paksan, Paksan is still there lah. But it's because of the LRT connection to the UOA offices at Glenmarie side, the opposite Federal Highway. Because like as Lot 15, Aurora area, all the rental is crazy now. But it's only that row. Only that row.
So, which is why I always tell people, you have to understand tiering in order to understand what is the right property price to pay. Right? You don't pay tier 1 price point in tier 2 locations. If you want to make money lah. Right? So there's a bunch of people who are happy to pay 1,000 per square foot in Subang. I would rather pay 600 per square foot in Dutamas.
Yeah.
It's tier 1 versus tier 2. To me, it doesn't make sense. There's a bunch of people who pay 800 to 1,000 ringgit per square foot to buy Kota Damansara leasehold. I couldn't comprehend it. Because to me, it doesn't make sense. Once you understand tier, you understand the price point, then how the hell do people do not see it? But again, maybe a lot of people don't watch 7 criteria video. They don't understand tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And therefore, they think it's an okay price because everyone who bought Subang made money. Right? But Subang will forever be a tier 2 as of today. Right? And this is no disrespect to Subang. I can argue the same about Shalam or Bangi. Right? It's not.
The question asks us Subang, not we say purposely aim Subang, okay?
Yeah, that's true. Right?
Okay.
All right. Okay. So
Hey, we gotta go faster for LB already. She cannot tahan it.
Yeah.
I think LB can go already, LB.
Okay lah. Bye-bye, LV.
Ah.
The next question is I think I'm gonna choose this one is from Chlorovobu. Does guests have any tips to filter how to recognize the rental authenticity in Property Guru? Because you know lah, the agent like to put a fake low rental price, 1 bedroom, they listing as 2 bedroom. Any tips or suggestions on how guests are using the Property Guru?
I don't know, nothing for me. It's just that for us, I think we've got the experience to just see this ad doesn't make sense.
Yeah, lor.
That's all.
Like,
It's just experience.
All right. The next one is from Adrian. Yep. Raw material for construction has increased due to no more subsidiary of diesel. How would the current developer gonna cope with the losses and as S&P has been signed and work is still in progress? Can they make it till completion?
Like I said, buy from developer with a bunch of land banks. If they don't have sufficient money, they budgeted wrongly for your project, which is great for you, right? They still have money to pay for it by selling a bunch of land or other assets. So
yeah.
it's a catch-22 lah. It really is the removal of diesel is going to trigger a lot of price hike, to be honest.
Yep. I made a video about this too. Like now I'm more worried about projects that are sold out. So this is what happened to a lot of the residency or the rumah or the affordable housings. Their margin is already 3%,
low,
4%.
Yeah.
Then diesel just eat it up. Everything just eat it up and they cannot complete. And there's no way another developer will come and save because there's no more meat within the project itself. So like when you say that this project still less 70%, right? At least they can still revise the selling price to be pumped in. And if you have bought the earlier phase, like I think this project, I booked one of the projects like 4 years ago. I just signed my S&P in it. Yeah, so to me it's like, yay. But then, yeah, I think to be a little bit more careful, especially on, this is the time where you need to pay attention to the depth of pocket. And if this continues, right, I'm very worried about domination of market. Only big boys can play now.
Well, that's what happened in Singapore and Hong Kong, right?
Yeah, it's
Right.
I think it's a path that inevitable one.
Yeah. In line with that, so the conclusion is one. Number one here is that you're going to eliminate a lot of medium, small players to the point it's no longer worth it to go and do property development. That means only big players will be able to go and do it. As the market becomes more and more, what was the term that we normally use? The operator becomes a lot more concentrated. That normally translates to even higher property prices. No, it's not saturated. It's
Monopoly,
the big players gobbling up the smaller players. So it's not really monopoly, it's just having lesser players. Because lesser competition typically means, higher prices. Then people can charge a premium, right? So today I can tell you right now, I'm in Indonesia, right? So only the big player can survive. Because in order to do property development in Indonesia, if you have a 200 million GDP project, you need to stand by 100 million cash. In Malaysia, you can develop a 200 million GDP project with 40 million cash. You have 20% of it in cold hard cash, good. Okay already in Malaysia. Last time even better, 10% pun cukup. 5% pun boleh last time. If you are talking about 10, 15 years ago lah.
Yeah. The days
Right?
before HDA lah.
The days before HDA. 5% pun can become a developer. You literally sell everything first. Today is no longer the case. With that, the removal of diesel subsidy will actually cost a couple of serious short, medium, long-term impact towards the property market. But there's only one outcome. Things are going to get more expensive. In fact, a lot more expensive. And to be honest, I guess, the best thing you can buy are actually the things that is launched pre-COVID. Because they are still stuck with pre-COVID price point. And they are going to give you the spec that was relevant back then, but today they can no longer do at today's price point. Really. Right? There's just no way. Right? So we buy either primary market, right? Market, right? So we have two strategy, right? We either design something with the developer and we make sure that it becomes a good property with sufficient rental yield, right? 8-9% so it becomes a grade A. Or we buy unsold overhang inventory at 50-60% discount, right? From property developers. And we love buying it from inventory that was launched pre-COVID. Can you imagine? I bought something with timber flooring on Johor. Proper timber, no? Not engineered timber. Proper timber flooring. Collar sanitary fitting. You know, all these German brand I cannot even pronounce. Sean can, I can't, you know, I'm not that sophisticated, right? And they were selling at 1,000 ringgit per square foot 10 years ago. And today we're buying at 360. Right? Look, the cost to build those things today is 700. Just to build, not making money for 700. So today I'm buying at 360. I know my clients are laughing to the bank, but they cannot laugh today because the market haven't realized you know, this gap as of today, right? But now with the removal of diesel subsidy, I can tell you, wow.
It's a big trigger lah.
It's going to be a big trigger, right? They are talking about 20 to 30% increase on overall construction costs because of this alone. So, and I went to Hong Kong and Shenzhen, right? So I've always wondered, okay lah, Hong Kong, Singapore, you can argue price expensive because land cost is very expensive. Labor is expensive, okay? You can argue that. But I can never understand why China is expensive. Because material is coming from China. It has got 1 billion labor, technically, right? So it cannot be expensive. Only to find out that actually the only reason why you can buy Malaysia property at 500 ringgit per square foot today, right, is because we are heavily subsidized.
Yep.
We are heavily subsidized. Like really. In
So
an
true.
open market like Singapore, whereby it's not heavily subsidized, just look, Singapore is supposedly clean, not so corrupt country, right? They do have corruption, but the level of corruption here in Singapore is like, you know, it's like macam budak tadika versus PhD student, you know, right? So it's supposed to be a cleaner country. The private property price there is not cheap, guys. It's bloody expensive. Why? No subsidy. Right? The only time you can buy cheap property is subsidized housing by the government, HDB. That's it. Non-subsidy, and the developers are not making 50% profit in Singapore. Margins are in the teens. And they're selling at 2,000 Sing dollar per square foot. No?
At
right?
8% margin.
8% margin. Here we are complaining, wow, 600 per square foot, mahal. Developer Yahudi. Ini Sean pergi promote di developer jual produk Yahudi. Right? So yeah, I think, like I said, that perspective after going to overseas, I mean, Indonesia, the price point here is crazy. Everything here is 800 ringgit per square foot. And it's 3 hours to Jakarta. It's crazy. It's 800 ringgit per square foot. It's not KLCC. It's 3 hours to Jakarta town. It's ridiculous. And they have the cheapest labor in the world.
So I think maybe if you're a property owner now, the removal of the subsidy would be the starting point of our wealth lah.
Very beneficial for you.
Next. Or we can go on and on. I think he one punch, I one punch. We can go forever.
Okay, last two questions.
I think the last two questions, I'd like to give the floor to Heng to pick one.
Okay, maybe I just see this one. Will Amina or Gamuda Garden jump here? Like I think what using Faizul's rules lah. Like if you think about it, right, it's about expats lah. Will I see Angmo in Elmina or Gamuda or not? Never lah, unless they are lost lah. So is very, very hard. But when you say from a tier 3 to a tier 2, then it's tough based on his ruling because they already start beyond tier 2. Their cheapest product is already above 500,000 and sold out. So the craziest thing about Elmina is I document one of the first phase on my wedding day, Elmina Green, 500,000, which is their affordable, the lowest price product in their township. And today that is like 900,000 already. Do you consider that jump tier? I don't know because now they are still working on it. Now got mall, now they got new corporate officers coming in. And it's crazy that you want commercial, they build for you. You want school, they build for you. You want highway, they build for you. And they still got a few thousand acres left in Malaysia, like all you doing the same method. So to me, will they jump tier from 3 to 2, but never 2 to 1? Based on Faizul's rule?
Agree. Very hard to become tier 1. Tier 1, you need to have a first mover advantage. The ability to move people who have, in a way, a lot of budget. To choose to go stay from Damansara Heights to go to Rawang or Sepang.
But this is this is an observation. So like tier 1 only appears next to a tier 2 area with extremely high population. So for example, like Mont Kiara, it's in the city lah. So population is very, very high. Bangsa South too. That is when I think like maybe Bukit Jalil will be one because Puchong crazy population, OUG crazy population, Kuchai Lama crazy population. I just need to set up a Angmo place or institution there to start luring people in, then maybe. But if it's from Elmina or Gamuda Garden, they are already at the fringe of the township. You want to get locals there first, not Angmos. Yeah, so that I think that's my observation. I don't have a theory so cool like Faizul yet, but yeah, put it here first.
I think your best case scenario becomes an upgraded version of Bukit Jelutong, but will still be part of tier 2.
Yeah, and
People
there's
not
nothing
gonna
wrong
rent.
with tier 2. I think
Correct.
tier 2, like everyone starts, yeah, no, tier 2 is where we live.
Yeah, I mean, look at Glenmarie, right? Glenmarie is tier 2. I mean, the properties there can still fetch 5 to 7 million. There's nothing wrong. Only the rental in Glenmarie sucks. Cannot command Bangsa price point.
Yep.
Property price can be just expensive, you know.
Yeah, so I think the audience needs to get that right first. It's not a negative. Tier 2 is very good already. Tier 2 is A already. That's not A+. That's at Faizul 1 A+.
I mean, it's just that when it comes to tier, you just have to understand the rental in tier 1 is greater than tier 2 normally, right? So for me, looking at it from an investor point of view, right? So when I say investor, I look at two things. I must have rental yield, I must have capital gain. So these two must come along. For people who buy in tier 2, a lot of them are very happy with the capital gain that they got enjoyed. Bandar Kirara, for example, the double story house that went from 250,000 15 years ago to about 800,000 today. People are fucking happy, guys. Buying tier 2 Bandar Kirara. They don't even know that they're buying tier 2. They don't give a shit because they made 600,000. Right? Nothing wrong with tier 2, like what Sean has said. Okay. Last question. I'll take it for Edwin. Pretty insightful question. I understand that we should always buy new as compared to old units as they fetch higher rental rate. Okay. Yes, again, subject to a premium of maximum 20%, right? But what about par capital long-term strategy? Will we be in negative cash flow after 10 years as our loan tenure be normally 30 to 35 years? So, Edwin, it's very, very rare. It's very, very rare for rental value to go down, right? Thanks to these two factors. Number one here is that inflation. It doesn't make sense for your nasi lemak, teh tarik, roti, petrol all to become more expensive over time. Then you get cheaper rental. There has never been a society anywhere in the world that is like that, lah. Right? Unless you live in a communist country. Right? So, number one, right? Thanks to inflation, it's very unlikely to happen. Number two here is that when you build a property in 2000 and let's say, for example, the cost to build, let's say, for example, a condo, let's say, like, for example, like Solaris tonight, right? In 2014, is a lot cheaper compared to the cost to build this today in 2024. So therefore, new properties will always be more expensive, right? Compared to the old property, right? And dragging the old property together. And we as property owners, we are also not that dumb. Okay? Look, if I bought something, let's say, for example, right? Let's say I bought Solaris. I bought it at, say, 500,000 for 3-bedroom, right? And I saw a developer next to, this particular 200 meters away, selling for something 1,000 per square foot, right? And my unit today should be worth roughly about 900,000. I'm not going to maintain an asking price of 600,000 when I see a developer selling similar unit to mine and 900,000. I will most likely revise the price point, right? All the way to 750, 800,000. I'll make it slightly cheaper. So today, you guys have got the benefit of attending this session to know that there's a premium of minimum 20%. But do you know how many people do not know what is the premium between old and new? Almost everyone else. That's just the honest truth. Which is why today, there are a bunch of people who buy old property at similar price point as per the new property. It doesn't make sense.
Good for the old owners.
Very good. Right? So the strategy for us has always been, you buy good property below median, right? You buy property with multiple rental options so that you are never stuck with just one rental option, right? For example, like Sean's property in Mount Kiara, he did long-term rental because he doesn't have the time. But if he does short-term rental, I'm pretty sure he's going to get 7,000-8,000. Because who are you competing with? Hyatt House next door. And how much is Hyatt House renting? 15,000 per month for 1 bedroom. So he charged 8,000, half price. You think people don't want me? God, plenty. And in fact, he has gotten the better property because his property has got a rooftop pool overlooking the whole KL skyline. All right. So what do? We buy below market. We buy, property with multiple rental options. And we are the cheapest and normally the poorest person in the Richmond area. So we like to become the cheapest person, poorest person in Richmond area. And that strategy will be relevant today, will be relevant 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. If anything, over a 20-year period, that strategy looks even better. But today, you're going to have question mark. When a lot of us bought our units, we're not 100% sure that we're going to make a lot of money. We only know after 5 years, for sure, right?
And that's the main, and I think just the home run to it is again, like nobody buys property every year lah. I think besides crazy people like us lah. So we, like, most of us is going to buy at most 2 in a lifetime. That's why to witness that and to have theories around property purchases is very abnormal. So when you listen to everything to this, then you, like, when you want to buy your first one, you scared. Yeah lah. So I think it's you need some time to kind of let that theory come to play.
I can only develop 7 criteria after 12 years of investing. Right? I gone through a property bull run. I gone through a property slump, right? I went through a big bull run whereby everything's just crazy. People are just buying, selayang at 800 ringgit per square foot. Cyberjaya 1,000 per square foot. Because that's what peak of property bull run. People are just irrational. And because people make a lot of money from property investing, then people just simply think, I can just buy anything and make money. That's not true. That's not true at all. But at that point of time, that was the belief. So the whole purpose of 7 criteria was that to really, because I was very curious, right? How come the property that I predict will not make money for me end up making 400,000 capital gain? But lousy cash flow. Make 100 ringgit only per month cash flow, but make 400,000 capital gain. Then my property that make 1,000 per month profit cash flow, make 100,000 only capital gain. You know, the Japanese will call it, wow, wakarimasen. I don't understand. How come? So the seventh criteria was, right? So the seventh criteria was a backward way to work on where I was wrong. How the hell did I make a lot more here by luck? And the reason is because I don't want to make that money by luck anymore. I also don't want to lose money lah. That's the most important thing, right? But you know, so how? Why? Why this property made 400,000? Then I begin to realize property which is nice and emotionally driven like the Park City, you just cannot comprehend one. How much people are going to pay silly money to go and buy it because there's only one Park City. So which is why, for example, if the property has got high number of facilities, very unique facilities that no one else in the area has, that property has got a higher score for us. Right? So because of all of these experience whereby, you know, you had like really home run hit, right? Which you never thought you would from some property in Puchong, right? So, you know, I never thought that property made 400,000, but it did. But I didn't make 400,000, I made 200,000 because I sold too early. So again, one can always say, hey, you made 200,000, you should be very happy. But some guy made 400,000 by just staying a little bit longer. Right? So my goal with 7 criteria was to formalize all of this and make it a little bit more predictable. That's it. It was a study of me unable to get it correctly 100%. So that's why we developed 7 criteria. If I were to be able to go and get everything accurately, I wouldn't have developed 7 criteria. For what? No? Because everything was correct.
All right. Thank you so much, Faizul Ridzuan, Heng, for tonight's session. I'll be still here, but just closing the camera.
Holy cow. Almost 4 hours, man.
Yeah.
Sean, I owe you a good lunch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Okay,
So he cannot be bought with money, but you know, lunch lah, minimum lah for his contribution. Hey guys, please give him a really huge warm of applause, for his views sharing tonight. Sean is amazing. You know, he looks at real estate like no one else. I really look at it from investment from a number point of view, but he just he has a very different, fresh set of eyes in the industry. And I think we are very lucky to have someone like Sean, sharing generously in the industry, right? I also hope everyone who joined tonight learned something new. I hope not just learn something new, learn plenty of new things from me, LB, Sean, William, right? Our next one will most likely be talking about Johor and RTS. So that will be a very interesting one.
Baru je nak sorok-sorok.
So the next one will be Johor review. RTS, so which property can buy Battle Royale kat sana pula, right? Yeah. So inshallah it will be as insightful, if not more insightful, as we try to get better. I apologize for any shortcomings from session tonight. But I really genuinely hope that our sharing tonight has given you a lot of insight, tips and guides in terms of what do you want to do if you are looking to buy something around the Duta Mas, North Kera, North Duta area. So that, again, Sean, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
And thank you also for the team who's staying all the way until now 2 o'clock in Malaysia, right? So with that,
I have a little bit of promotion here. I apologize.
Sure.
Yeah, so since you're all here, right, and if you like our content, you always wanted to know our contents and our news, maybe our upcoming deals that we're going to like tease to all of you. Yeah, we're going to give an exclusive content secretly to all of you. First, do join our link that I've shared in the chat. It's upcoming updates, exclusive content only for you, and as well as upcoming free webinars. Even the Battle Royale, we're going to tell you first. So please join in the link.
Hey, by the way, guys, before that, lupa nak cakap lah. We are thinking of establishing a WhatsApp channel.
Yes, that's right.
So we're gonna talk about deals,
Mm-hmm.
right? So macam biasa, the best deal, first party that will know is all gonna be far capital client lah. But the second party after far capital client and still have units and apa semua tu will be you guys lah, right? So don't worry, it's for free for now, right? Do join us. We put the link there dekat situ, right? We put the link there dekat situ. Again, it's for free. You know, and you'll be updated in all, you know, new theories kita ada, new areas kita ada, any new investment that we are looking at, and cool content like this.
Yeah. All right.
Hi,
Okay.
Bladu.
Okay. With that, everyone, Assalamualaikum and good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much, guys, for being awesome guests tonight. Bye, guys.